There's Wisconsin defense and there's Wisconsin atmosphere. The kickoff from Camp Randall coming up. Brian, first back to you.
The Fresno State defense known for their hard hitting. They've got some stars up front. But you will see a secondary on display today that Wisconsin head coach Barry Alvarez called as hard-hitting and as aggressive as he's ever seen. High praise indeed from the head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers as Wisconsin is set to take the field. They come off that most difficult loss 1 week ago at Oregon. And there you see Fresno State, America's sweethearts, the country's college football darlings, off to the 2-0 start. And Camp Randall Stadium, as always, jam-packed. 77,000 fans will be on hand. The weather's been in and out, 70 degrees, chance of showers. The sun trying to peek through all morning, but it's been raining over the last few days here in Madison. And we are just about set for the opening kickoff. Fresno State won the toss. They have deferred. Wisconsin will receive. Brett Visitator is set to kick it off. Nick Davis and Michael Broussard are back deep for Wisconsin. This has all the makings. Visitator's kick. And it'll be Davis in the end zone. Out to the 10. The 20-yard line. And Davis is finally tackled down at the 28-yard line. Kendall Edwards brought him down on the special teams start. As for the quarterback, that's been a bit of an issue here. Brooks Bollinger has been cleared medically to play. We'll only see him in an emergency. Jim Sorgi will be your starting quarterback for Wisconsin.
And the guy to look for here is Lee Evans. 5 plays over 28 yards. He is averaging 25 yards per catch. The go-to guy now that Chris Chambers is with the Dolphins.
And there he is as Wisconsin opens up. 1st and 10 now to the 28-yard line. Anthony Davis alone set back towards the pass. Incomplete to Lee Davis. To the 40, crosses midfield, where he is forced out of bounds. The 49-yard line of Fresno State. Mark Daly forced him out.
Great way to start for them. They want to go right to Evans, their big man. He gets him past midfield in the first play of the game.
A gain of 23 yards on the pass completion. Sorgi gets good protection from these guys, the offensive line. You see Ben Johnson, Al Johnson. Sure, it's a common name, but they are, in fact, cousins.
Alan Harper is going to have a big game for Fresno State. Their 2-time all-WAC selection is the man who's going to have to do it in the run and pass game.
Chad Coons, the fullback, checks in, then goes in motion spread out to the left. And it's a handoff to Davis. Breaking tackle. He's at the 20. The 10. No, they say he was out of bounds. Forced out at the 6-yard line. What an offensive start for Davis and the Badgers. It's a 43-yard game.
Interesting, the first 2 plays of the game, we mentioned that Davis was the leading rusher in the nation. Evans was the leading receiver in the nation for yardage. At the point of attack, take a look at Wisconsin. Davis does a great job of cutting back against the grain and getting to the outside, and that vaunted tackling of Fresno State is poor early on as Wisconsin seems to be running downhill.
Brings up a 1st and goal, 67 yards of the first 2 offensive plays by Wisconsin.
Well, Fresno State really has to suck it up here.
1st and goal from the 5. That's where they spot it. Here's Sorgi. They'll give it to Davis. Trying on the left side. And he is very close to the goal line, or from just shy of the end zone.
Watch the fullback Coons ahead, number 41, as he cuts to the outside. Watch the defender come out. Watch what happens here. Ouch. Look at this. He drives right into the cameraman. If you're a running back, I'm telling you right now, that's what you want in front of you. You want that road grade that clears things for you.
Bring up a 2nd down and goal. They've been perfect in the red zone this season. 6-6. And Sorgi going to try to keep it himself. Touchdown!
Steve, You had to know that this drive was going to go well for Wisconsin. When Davis returns the kickoff 6 yards deep in the end zone, you say, that doesn't make any sense, but what does he do? He gets them out in good field position. They go with a big pass play. Davis with a big running play. That took all of 4 plays to get in the end zone. Very impressive drive.
4 plays, 72 yards. Sorgi, the better of the passing quarterbacks when compared to Brooks Bollinger, but that one the sneak. And here's Mike Allen on to attempt the extra point. And Sorgi will hold for him, and Allen boots it through. What a start for Wisconsin.
One of the things, isn't it fun when it happens? You talk about stars at the top of the show, and they come through. That's exactly what happened to Wisconsin. Up 7-0. Very.
The raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my...
ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by Hyundai. With the freedom of America's best warranty, the Hyundai Advantage is standard equipment. And by BF Goodrich Tires. Take control.
Back in Madison, 7-0 Wisconsin. For the Badgers, that's the first time they put up even a single point in the first quarter. And also, the first time this season, only 2 games in coming into this one, the Fresno State defense has allowed even a single point in the first quarter. Adam Espinosa is set to kick it away for Wisconsin. Bernard Berrien and Bryce McGill are backseat for the Bulldogs. And it's a short kick. Fielded by Berrien at the 15. Cut to the middle. Out to the 30. And he is dragged down to 35. A good starting field position for the Bulldogs. And David Carr will lead Fresno State's offense out. He was second team all-WAC last year. Threw 4 INTs in last year's opener. After that, 23 touchdowns, 80 receptions the rest of the way.
Take a close look at Jeremy Johnson, their tight end. He is going to change things because he can get downfield. Only 205 pounds, but he runs extremely well.
Harris gains the lone setback. Carr is lead him. Carr comes out firing. And the receiver Berrien could not get inside the defensive back. The offensive line for Fresno State. Mike Stovall, the center, goes by the nickname of Stump. He anchors this offensive line.
Of course, on the other side of the ball, number 77, Wendell Bryant, the Big Ten Defensive Lineman of the Year. Seems like he's been around an awful long time. He is good.
After the incomplete pass, Carr will come out firing on second down and able to complete this time to Berrien. Takes the inside move and then takes on defenders like Scott Stark head on. The linebackers for Wisconsin. Nick Greisen is the first Wisconsin player since Pete Monty in '96 to lead the Big Ten in tackles. He did that a season ago.
Mike Eccles is the man they want to replace Jamar Fletcher as their premier cover corner. But take a look at Scott Starks, a 155-pound true freshman out there at the corner. Went to the same high school as Jamar Fletcher, and you can see has his number.
True freshman starting at corner in the Big Ten.
Wow,
High praise.
It is. That's big.
And it's not as if they don't have depth at the position. This is about Starks' talent.
All I remember is Kevin Cosgrove, when we mentioned Starks and having a 155-pounder out there in space, he just rubbed his hands and said, he's going to be good.
Looks like they're going to come up just short. You get a good look at it there. Set for a SportsCenter in-game update. Here's Brian Kenny. Brian?
Steve, Georgia Tech gets Florida State next week. They get Navy today. George Godsey early to Kerry Campbell. Touchdown, Yellow Jackets on the board, 7-zip. Syracuse leading Central Florida. They're also got a touchdown, 7-0. That's in the first quarter as well. Back to Stephen Todd.
See, one of the things that people are talking about, that Brian mentions next week is Florida State. I wouldn't say it's unanimous, but a majority of people feel that this is the time that Georgia State's finally going to knock off the Seminoles.
3rd and 1 upcoming. The Carr of the Bulldogs. Take a receiver out to the right, and Carr will keep it himself and go for the first down. It looks like he should have it. And there is the indication First down, Fresno State. Let's head down to the field for more on the field condition. Here's Dave Ryan.
Yeah, Steve, it rained here a lot in Madison last night. Couple hours, probably a couple inches worth of rain, so the turf is very slick. That's a big advantage for Wisconsin. They practice rain or shine on this turf or indoors on artificial surface. Fresno State has not played a turf game since October 21st of last year at Nevada. They have no turf facility at home. They're not used to it, guys.
We'll watch for that as we watch Harris Gaines approach midfield right at the 50-yard line.
That's very good. That's a very good point, Rhino. And the reason it is because I really think that one of the issues here is you got to get used to the shoes. You got to get used to the field. And practicing is not the same. You can see right there, Gaines loses his shoe right off the bat. It is an issue. I can tell you as a former player, it's difficult to go from grass to turf because as Mercury Morris pointed out to me years ago, on grass you run, but on turf you skate. So there's an adjustment, particularly for the skill players.
Second down and 7. Here's Carr. Quick drop, throwing, and completed to bury it again. Far side. He's very close to another first down.
I can't resist the idea that you can see right there, 2-on-2, Berrien number 2, and of course Starks number 2. That's going to be interesting all day long. Earlier in the game, we're talking about slipping. Watch the feet outside. You can see right there, Berrien not quite used to it and stumbles just a little bit. Of course, that was a play about 3 plays ago, but still, that is going to be an issue. They have to get used to it. That's a very good point by Rhino. I didn't see the flag.
I did not see the flag either.
Eligible receiver downfield against the offense. Remains second down.
There's the man we've been making reference to, Kevin Cosgrove, the defensive coordinator of Wisconsin. We talked last week. He said the big issue here is crucial third down conversions. He said the reason they lost last week, Oregon converted 3 straight third and longs. And of course, I thought it interesting, too, when I asked him if he get a chance to see Coach Hill. We talked a little bit about a comparison between Joey Harrington and David Carr. We'll give you more of that information a little bit later.
Second and 12, they're running it. It's Harris Gaines, and he'll get a couple of yards back. Jeff Mack made the stop along with Wendell Bryant.
This is something that Fresno State very much wants to establish. While Carr is certainly a premier quarterback, you have to have a semblance of a running game. Wisconsin's going to be afforded the opportunity to pin their ears back and turn those feet to the rail.
Third down conversion for Fresno State, 35%. That's been a problem for Wisconsin, but it wasn't a problem on their first drive. They didn't come up with a third down. Here's third down for the Bulldogs. Carr throwing on the run and completing. Bernard Berrien slipped down and on the turf made the grab for 15 in the first down.
And how accurate is this? How accurate a throw is this by Carr? He's on the run, and Berrien hits the ground. Berrien's going to plant right here on the deep comeback route. He slips and falls, and there's the ball right in his chest. That is an amazing level of accuracy and a great job by Carr. Knowing that he's coming back for the ball, there's no way he could have been cognizant of the fact that he's going to slip. But still, what a terrific throw. Great concentration on the part of Berrien, too.
Here's the first down. All of a sudden, he looks and drives with Carr the Bulldogs. Now Carr the pressure. He's going to go down. Wendell Bryant drags him down at the 45-yard line, and he had all sorts of time. That's got to be considered a covered sack.
Well, maybe so, but again, the issue here, as you pointed out at the top of the show, he's never seen anybody like Wendell Bryant. What a stud. Watch number 77. Here he is putting up the field. He goes through 2 people. Look at the running back there. That was absolutely no help at all. When he gets back up, he's going to say, hey, come on, Gaines, give me a little bit more than that. Watch as he beats him. Watch him just steamroll the running back right in the face of Carr. I'm telling you right now, Wendell Bryant, he's a stud ball.
Second down and 18. Handed off the left side. Marquez Davis, the receiver, coming around. Joey Bose pushed him out after the game as well. Now 10 up. SportsCenter in game with Ryan King.
Steve, we go to Kinnick Stadium, Iowa against Miami of Ohio. And the Hawkeyes for a big week. A lot of scoring against Penn State. Get one more. Kyle McCann against Jeremy Allen. 7-0 Iowa up on top, guys.
All right, Brian, thank you. Posted and everything going on. SportsCenter in game throughout this college football afternoon and tonight as well. Third down and 6. Harris Gaines the low setback, but Carr's going to throw. Throw incomplete. Able to hook up with Rodney Wright. down to the 20-yard line. Gain of 12.
Rodney Wright was the stud last week. 8 catches over 180 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Beavers. Nice catches. He reached back for that one. It was a little bit behind him.
I mentioned SportsCenter in game today and tonight. There's great college football action for you tonight as usual. A couple of top 25 ranked teams, South Carolina and Georgia. And over on ESPN2, Tennessee and Arkansas. The Vols coming in ranked 7th in the nation. Fresno State now 3-for-3 on third down. They fake the handoff. Carr's going to throw, and incomplete. Trying to show a touch there. That could not connect with Gaines. A late flag comes in at about the 18-yard line.
Well, we saw that Delonte McGrew, the defensive lineman, was not fooled. He was right with the receiver. I'll be interested to see what Carr. That certainly can't be intentional grounding. That's the second time that's happened. And, of course, the timing play for a screen of that nature requires the lineman to hang in there just a little bit. But I'm thinking here, Steve, this is just my opinion on the 20-yard line. Refuse that. I want to give Carr 2 more opportunities. You don't want to give him 3 here heading into the red zone.
Ineligible receiver downfield against the offense. Still first down.
Well, that explains why I'm up here and not down. People are already downfield before the ball is thrown. You can see it. There's a phalanx of blockers. Good call by the official. But again, I really believe this. I really don't want. You don't want to give this quarterback three opportunities. Trust your defense on 2nd and 10.
Officials off from the Big Ten. Dan Capron is the referee. Pat Bayer is the umpire. Ed Peters, the linesman. First down and 15 now. For Carr, he good protection throwing, and he's throwing into double coverage. Blocking right the intended receiver, but the Badgers were there. Starks and Bose had it covered perfectly.
That's the one bad throw that Carr has had right here. He hangs his receiver out to dry. Wright's right in the middle, and it gives Bose the opportunity to lay him out. That ball is a little bit high, but there's no way he's going to complete it anyway. This is why this is what they talk about when they tell receivers to have courage in the middle of the field. He knows right there he can't get it, so you can see he's got his arm down, was able to brace himself, not be exposed, as Bose took a lick.
Second down and 15. Take one way, get it the other way. To Paris Gaines up the middle. He's down to the 20-yard line. Ben Herbert made the stop. SportsCenter in-game update time with Brian Kenny.
Save Virginia Tech and Western Michigan. 16 plays, 73 yards. 4th and goal. Virginia Tech going for it. Keith Burnell. Stop. Broncos with the stuff. Yet no Lee Suggs. No score right now. Meantime, Texas is on the board. 7-0 over North Carolina. Guys?
See, that's going to be tough for the Hokies to lose 25th touchdown. That's how many Lee Suggs had last year. Of course, as well as over 1,000 yards rushing.
Third down and 10 from the 20-yard line. Gaines alone, step back, Carter's one Carr post, going in, what a throw! Able to hook up with Marquez Davis, touchdown!
They go with the slam up, Steve. He takes the 3 steps inside the corner, bites, then he's got to flop it up to the top. Boy, that's just a great throw by Carr. The touch on this ball is amazing. Watch, he looks the safety off, now comes back. There's the little pump fake right there. Starks actually isn't in that bad a coverage, but how much better can you throw the ball? You're over the top of the 5'10" Boy, that's a terrific throw by Carr.
Here's Fresno State.
This formation, that's fatigues me. Swinging here, come on. Not a big fan, huh? Well, neither's the crowd. You can hear him.
Hassan Asparuhoff is set for the extra point.
I'm sorry, who?
Asparuhoff,
well done.
Able to connect. We're going to analyze that throw. What a drive. Tremendous on third down conversions. Much more on that. We're deadlocked at 7.
Just a little bit. Just tremendous accuracy by number 8.
Carr goes 4 of 6 for 56 yards. That was a 64-yard drive in 12 plays. The most impressive third down conversion rate for Fresno State, 4 for 4.
And the very thing that we pointed out, why do you want to give this guy another play, right? Why do you want to give another play on third down?
Brent Disitator kicks it away. And Nick Davis will let it bounce into the end zone. Amazing. Some teams are playing their third game today. Some teams are playing their first. SportsCenter in game with Brian Kenny.
Steve, we're getting underway in Ohio State. Jim Tressel era is underway in the Horseshoe, the newly expanded Horseshoe. With over 101,000 people there, and they get to see Jonathan Wells going 15 yards. Buckeyes up on top on Akron. It's 7-0 in the first quarter. Iowa has scored again on Miami of Ohio. It's 14-0 there. Steve, Todd?
Brian, thank you. We'll get part of those 101,000 fans next week when San Diego State comes to Columbus. Look forward to that. Anthony Davis, the ball carrier. Nothing doing there. He's pushed back inside the 15. Jason Stewart leading the charge.
The last guy for Wisconsin, of course, was just down the field as if they didn't exist. Big plays. First of all, you had the good kickoff return, and then Evans with a short out route, breaks the tackle, cuts upfield, gets him past midfield. And then, of course, Anthony Davis, I pointed out, looks like he's running downhill. Now, you know what? I'll wait a little bit later to make that comparison. For those of you who are a little older, remember number 28 by the name of Davis. Because Sorgi is the one who's the beneficiary of those big plays.
Second down and 13 after the loss of 3 by Davis. Some motion on the left side of the line there. And Sorgi passes in and out of the hands of Nick Davis. Good coverage on the play by Devon Banks.
And suddenly the aggressiveness of that Fresno State defense is beginning to show up. You saw the penetration on the first play. Second time they're all over it. And those are the scoring drives that Wisconsin has put together. Remember Wisconsin, we mentioned coming in here against Fresno State. They have won 13 consecutive home games against non-conference opponents. The last time they lost was in 1995 to Colorado. So this is an uphill battle for Fresno State, but they bring in the lead after the task.
Third and 13 off the incompletion. You see the play clock underneath the game clock. 10 seconds to get it away, and they do easily. And the throw by Sorgi is complete to Evans down the sideline. He scampers out of bounds after the 19-yard gain. He's out to 36. Tyrese Sands had the cover.
This is a great throw because he has to go through a number of bodies. Take a look at what happens. Sorgi, they're going to blitz him. Strong safety comes on the blitz. He needs to throw this ball between a number of bodies. Take a look at the accuracy of which Sorgi delivers the ball. A lot of bodies right there. He puts it right on the hands of Evans. What a great throw.
Chad Coons, the fullback, checks in. Got his younger brother, Russ, is the second string fullback behind him. Sorgi, straight drop, and will throw. And the pass incomplete. Byron Brown was not hang on.
Driving over to the game today, Steve, I was listening to the radio for Wisconsin football, and the moderator, the host rather, was talking about how there are a lot of people that feel as if maybe that's the guy they should stay with to the end of the year. Because in his 2 starts, he has been outstanding, despite the fact they weren't able to pull off the victories. And Bollinger, though, is a little bit more molding. He adds another dimension, whereas Sorgi is arguably the better passer.
I'm just surprised he had the AM radio on this morning. What happened to the country music? You never listen to AM. Second down and 10. Flags fly. We told you at the top of the broadcast, I want to introduce you to this Fresno State football team you might not have heard much about, but there you see their linebackers led by Maurice Rodriguez. Last year a key special teams player, now just one of the keys on defense.
A hard-hitting secondary. You saw Banks come up. McGill is their leading tackler. Tyrese Sands, arguably the best cover corner.
More on Fresno State, things you might not be aware of. Founded back in 1911, they come out of the WAC. And they are the Bulldogs. They are the feel-good college football story of the season. And that figures to be on the line here this afternoon. Again, flags fly as Anthony Davis, the fullback, turns the corner. Again, there's a flag down, but Davis is down the sideline. And he's still in bounds. He's in the end zone. Touchdown. We'll see flag.
I think the flag is offside. It would appear that the flag is offside, and I think it's going to count.
If it does, it'll be a 68-yard touchdown by Anthony Davis.
There, Fresno State. I thought they had jumped off sides. You see, Fresno State's pretty excited. Maybe they were able to create some movement. I thought it was offsides, and it appeared that somebody jumped right in the middle. That's what it was. It was
holding
offside.
And offside.
I didn't see the other holding. Well, clearly, Steve, one of the other things, too, is at the end of the run when Nick Davis comes over and makes the block. I thought that was a block in the back. Take a look. Right there. There's the offsides jumping through. That's number 44 who gets in the crease, and he's a little bit offsides. That's Jerron Smith. Now to the outside. Watch to the left. You're going to see Nick Davis come over and make a block. That's in the back.
Yeah.
And that's where that was the flag. It wasn't holding. It was a block in the back. Well, that's a tough one.
Wipes out what would have been a 68-yard touchdown run by Anthony Davis. Instead of a lead, it's 2nd and 15 from their own 32-yard line. Davis, likely out of breath, remains alone, step back, and they'll try him again. Try the left side, not really easy to turn the corner, and he swung around down at the 30-yard line. Set for an update. Virginia Tech always good on the special team. Here's Ryan Kennedy.
Steve, how right you are, and here we go. Virginia Tech going on Western Michigan. Blocked up, Hook. Wayne Ward got a piece of it. It's the 84th block kick in the Frank Beamer era. 164 games, 84 block kicks. They punched it in from there, so they've got lead. Georgia Tech now up 14-0 on Navy. Guys?
I'm glad Brian did that. I'm glad he pointed out the number because I remember a couple of years ago when I was doing Virginia Tech games, they figured out that they had a block every 2 games, and so they're still keeping that up. 84 and what was it, 164? That's impressive.
Facing the third down problem for Wisconsin. The pass across the middle. Taken off the turf. He got it. He did not. Lee Evans claiming he made the catch. Looked like he took it off the turf, and it'll just go as an incompletion and bring up 4th down.
Now, Steve, I want to make a point right here. If for whatever reason, watch the ball, see where the hands are. Right there, you can see the ball is on the ground. His hands are on top of the ball. Good job by the umpire to see that. What I was about to say, Steve, as you see it more clearly from that angle, good job, guys, is this. If Fresno State goes on to win this game, that hold or that block in the back there on this play could lose huge later on.
Kirk Monday punching it away. And Bernard Berrien has it. How to use the sideline as advantage. He does. Nice move by Berrien. And he's out to the 49-yard line. Chris Holznet made the stop. A 44-yard punt, 23-yard return by Berrien. Fresno State to the offense when we come back.
Crowd of red, 77,000. Early on, it appeared that Fresno State was bothered by things, but certainly they have gained their composure. And Pat Hill was very aware of that coming in. He said that he needed his team to respond well. He felt that they would for this reason, and that's that he has a number of older players. You see the passing yards have improved as a result of Carr being there. But he has juniors in his 2-deep roster. They only have 4 freshmen. And that says a lot about the veteran leadership that the Bulldogs have on the club.
Right. If you had to pick one of these two you thought would be young and inexperienced, it would probably be Fresno State. It's not the case. Bernard Berrien down the sideline. He's having himself a ball game, and he's down to the 36-yard line. More on those special teams. Brian Kennedy was entering games.
Steve, Texas and North Carolina. Mac Brown playing his old school. And after Ronald Curry was intercepted for a touchdown, Nathan Vassar for the Longhorns, taking this 60 yards. He'd get it to the 3. They'd score from there. We get to see if Chris Sims can move the Longhorns, but it's 14-0, guys.
All right, Brian, thank you. North Carolina coming in 0-2 to that game.
Texas. You know what Lee Corso said about the heart of Texas?
Whoa. No, I did not. They hand it off to a receiver, Rodney Wright. He's got the first down and more, but there is a flag down on the play.
Coming into this game, it's clear to me that Andy Ludwig must have seen something on the flanks. Maybe Wisconsin doesn't have the speed that they once did. But their offensive coordinator, that's now about the 3rd of those reverses that they've been going with. Is your offensive coordinator. A little bit of motion there, one of the linemen moved, which is unfortunate. But creative play calling on the part of Ludwig coming into this drive. Did a great job in the first drive, and now right off the bat goes with the reverse. 2 of them, in fact. And so he's doing his best to keep them off balance. And I think the reason for this, Steve, is that clearly the one thing Fresno State has not established.
Illegal formation against the offense. Only had 6 men on the line of scrimmage. Repeat first down.
One of the things they have not established in the first 2 games is a running game. They've been able to win without a running game. And he knows that if he can't do it between the tackles, he has to be a little bit more creative. And thus far, he's done exactly that.
Fresno State has now gone 15 straight games without having a 100-yard rusher. Josh Levi, back in 99 against San Jose State, was the last to do it. Berry in motion. On first down and 15 after the penalty marker, it's Harris Gaines for no gain. Well, there are Bulldogs and there are bad dogs. Here's Dave Ryan.
And it's going to be a bad dog, Steve, no question. Pat Hill of Fresno State, a thorough believer in motivation. The most coveted honor there at Fresno State is getting a bad dog T-shirt. Only 2 players have gotten that so far. Marquez Davis, the receiver, a touchdown catch today, and Roddy Wright, another receiver for his great effort against Colorado. It means you totally dominate your position. On the back, talks all about how being hard-nosed, aggressive, fundamental is what the Bulldogs want to be. This is something every player wants to get.
Here's Carr firing and completing to Bernard Berry on the 2nd and 15. Scott Starks was with him step for step. It's a 12-yard gain. I don't know, for Dave, he's got the Speedo last week and the bad dog T-shirt this week. Who knows what will happen next week in Columbus?
Well, I know that he didn't want to model the Speedo, but he can throw on the bad dog. As Berry, we see, has had his 4th catch in the first quarter. He's become the go-to guy. Wright was the guy last week. 4 catches for 36 yards. Doing a great job against the secondary of the Badgers.
Third down and 3. Again, they were 4 for 4 on third down conversions on their opening drive to touchdowns. Here's Carr. He's got the running room, and he will run out of bounds after picking up the first down.
This is a great call. This is a great call.
First down, Fresno State.
Going against the weak side, there's no way that you've anticipated the quarterback is going to run. 6'3", 225. He's not altogether nimble, but he goes against the short side, and there's nobody up in support. Great job by Carr to get the first.
Carr showed some speed there.
Once again, another third down conversion. Kevin Cosgrove, that was frustrated.
First and 10 now. Gaines remains a lone setback. Carr wants nothing to do with it. Carr is throwing. Nearly intercepted. Should have been picked off across the middle. Jeff Mack, but there is a flag down.
They have the flag down, Steve, but the official's going to come and say that the ball was tipped, and so I'm pretty sure that they're going to pick the flag up.
Carr was dropped big time in the backfield after he released.
The pass was tipped. There is no flag.
Good cohesion on the part of the official to see that. The umpire sprinted back to the back judge to let him know that the ball had been tipped. Very fortunate, Carr is, that he didn't get that interception.
Second and 10. As you see some scores from around the nation. Syracuse trying to avoid going 0-3 on the season. Here we're all deadlocked, 7-all. Fresno State in Wisconsin. Second down and 10. And it's Harris Gaines for the short game. We saw Carr running out of bounds. He's known for his strength, not necessarily his speed, but as for the rest of the team, they can run.
Team speed, our confidence level is really high. Coach Hill likes to say speed is an attitude, and I like to think we have a speed attitude, and we go out there and we try and show that to everybody.
Carr not known for being that quick, but he's strong. That bench press 390 pounds and can squat 500. For a quarterback. Here's Carr throwing. Sets up the screen, able to complete the pass to Rodney Wright for a short gain. And bring up a third down. Actually, I beg your pardon, brings up a fourth down. The third down conversions, which they were so successful on in the first drive. Not able to hit it there. So attempt for the field goal. Hassan Asparuov is on to attempt a 35-yard field goal. He's 4 of 5 this season. He missed a 42-yarder earlier. And he will miss this one as well. Asparuov cannot connect. With 4:59 left in the first quarter, we remain tied at 7.
The third round of the PGA Bell Canadian Open is coming up at 3 Eastern, 3:30 Eastern today on ESPN. Nicky Pride is your leader, as you see. Where's Tiger? Wood shot a 73 yesterday, leaving him 7 back coming into third round action today. What a sports weekend, right? The NFL opening up, another great slate of college football. Tigers up in Canada, the U.S. Open.
Baseball races.
Anthony Davis trying on the left side. Picks up with 8 yards.
Maurice Rodriguez, Mark Daly needed to stop. Let's check in with Brian Kenny.
Steve, let's get you back to Texas and North Carolina. Another subplot in this game. Ronald Curry fighting for his job, but the quarterback here leading a 9-play, 78-yard drive, running in nicely. The 2-sport star gets him on the board. It's now 14-7.
A couple of basketball players on that North Carolina football.
Julius Peppers, I was about to say, he was the all-state quarterback in Virginia, second team to throw him.
Hand off again. It's Davis trying to break it. He does. 40, 45, and he's caught from behind. He's finally brought down at the 50-yard line by Nick Burley.
But if Burley doesn't catch him, he's off to the races. One of the things, the advantages that you have when you are shorter and quicker. Watch the hesitation in the hole. Right here, he's able to shuffle and find his way through a real slither of a hole. Not very big. Burley hustles downfield. Otherwise, he goes the distance. Watch how little this hole is. See how tiny that is? A bigger back, a 6'2", 6'3" guy cannot get through that hole. Davis does a great job of picking his spots, getting the first down near midfield.
He had a 69-yard touchdown run last week against Oregon. Really had a 68-yard run today. It was wiped out by a penalty. But 71 yards on the afternoon. And it's Davis again. A loss on that play. Vernon Fox, the hard-hitting, strong safety, came up to greet him.
Grant Hinkson in on the nose is able to push the pile back as you see his average. You pointed that out earlier after the 68-yard run. He was winning. You can see there he's a little bit gassed early on. But, of course, I find it interesting to take a look at him because in visiting with both Brian White and Barry Alvarez, they said, hey, we'll give our tailback the ball. Told the stories of how in one game long they had 51 carries. So if he's going well, better get some oxygen. Let's get the ball.
On second down, here's Sorgi to throw, and he's got a man to take a slip down. Lee Evans, 10, touchdown. They're all flags down once again. Evans on a 53-yard strike from Sorgi again, flags down the play.
Steve, I'm not sure that when he didn't go out and up, he might have gone out of bounds. I'm not sure. Or it might have been a chuck out to 5.
Pass interference by the defense. The penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Well, it shows how that Evans is that he was able to escape that and get up the field. Watch number 3. Here's Evans. That's a little bit of an up he goes. And Edwards knows that he's beat. He tries to grab him. Really, that's a great job by Evans of staying in bounds and avoiding the tackler and going against him. I tell you what, this number 3 is exciting.
Evans going to second wide receiver under Barry Alvarez, that consecutive 100-yard receiving game. His old high school buddy, Chris Chambers, was the other. Mike Allen on to attempt the extra point. And he's able to connect. Lee Evans, a 53-yard touchdown reception to put Wisconsin up.
Well, of course, there's a price to be paid for this, and the all-whack defender, number 98, Alan Harper, makes Sorgi pay. Just whacks him to the turf. But give Sorgi credit. He hung in there, put the ball on number 3's hands, and that's a touchdown. Sometimes it's not so glamorous playing quarterback. You do get hit.
Evans now 3 catches for 97 yards. I mentioned having the 2 consecutive 100-yard receiving games. In Wisconsin history, only 2 other players have had 3 consecutive 100-yard receiving games. That's Pat Richter, their current director of athletics. Of course, the great Al Toon.
Of course, I find it interesting that we talk about the great players. Now the defense is struggling a little bit. Get a chance to see Coach Brown talking with his Chargers, saying, don't get down. It's one big play. They can come back.
3:01 left in a rather entertaining first quarter from Camp Randall here in Madison. Out on the Espinosa. They look to kick it away.
Interesting momentum because it seemed like 5 minutes ago it was on the visitor side and you couldn't hear a thing. And the missed field goal, and all of a sudden it goes to Badgers play.
The sun trying to peek out all morning and still trying here. Rain, potential for rain in the forecast as it has been the last few days here in Madison, Wisconsin. They say Madison on a college football Saturday when Camp Randall is full. If Camp Randall Stadium was a city, it would be the 6th largest city in the state of Wisconsin. It gives you a feel. Big time atmosphere here in Madison. Bernard Berrien and Bryce McGill are deep. Waiting the field, Espinosa's kick. Freshman. And he puts it in. It'll be Berrien, number 5. Cuts up the middle. And he is taken down from behind by Bryce McGill. I beg your pardon. Robert Brooks on a special team stop for Wisconsin.
Dan Brown, defensive coordinator for Fresno State, has an interesting biography of his own. You can see his coaching experience. I think that these are, people don't understand how nomadic assistant coaches have to be. But the thing that catches my attention is down here on the bottom. Holy cow, one of 14 kids, and he has 6 children of his own. I told him the old joke about you didn't get the chance to sleep alone until you're married. And he chuckled and said, yeah, that's a good one. And drove it up with no grandchildren to this point. They've got plenty of those on the way, right? Here's Carr, keeping it himself. Out to the 37-yard line. And again, there is a flag down. He was forced out of the pocket by Wendell Bryant. And Nick Trice, he showed a little more speed on that run. And they'll refuse that play and take the first.
Let's check in with Brian Kenny. Brian.
Steve, Georgia Tech and Navy, and again, Yellow Jackets are warming up for Florida State. And here we go. Corey Collins with a big hit, dislodges the football. Ricardo Wimbush will pick this up and bring it back in 28-0 already, and it's early in the second quarter. And UCLA off a win at Alabama at Kansas. Right now, Jayhawks have a lead, but it's early, guys.
Kansas, a very difficult home schedule this season. The Bruins is part of that. On first down and 10. After the penalty, here's Carr escaping the pressure. And he will just throw that one away. David Carr, rather mature college quarterback. For more on that, here's Dave Ryan.
Yes, indeed. Dave Carr's a family man. You'll notice he wears tape on his left ring finger, which wedding ring normally is, to keep his wife Melody in mind. So she has a presence with him on the field. He won't wear the real wedding ring because it could get scratched and dented, as you know. David and Melody, the proud parents of son Austin, 16 months old, and the whole family, grandparents, about 20 people watching the game back home in Bakersfield today.
Try to hook up with the family maybe a little bit later on. See how they're enjoying the broadcast. California. Here's Carr throwing off his back foot and completing to Bernard Berrien. And he should have enough for the first down. Scott Starks is there on the cover.
We talked about Anthony Davis being in shape. Berrien's got to be in shape. Now his 5th catch here in the first quarter, as well as 2 kickoff returns. He's been a very busy guy.
Final 7 games last season for Berrien, he averaged 17.2 yards per catch. Had touchdown catches of 47, 51, 55, and 71 yards. He's a big yak guy, yards after the catch.
And he's a bigger receiver at 6'2", 190 pounds. That's what receivers like. It's a bigger target, and that makes it that much more difficult for cornerbacks who notoriously are smart.
3 receivers out to the right. David Carr. We'll get our first charge timeout of the game. And Fresno State will use a timeout with 2:34 left in the first quarter from Camp Randall. And the Badgers on top by a touch. Thank you. We'll focus on that as we look at Barry Alvarez, 54 years old, in his 12th year, the winningest coach in school history in Wisconsin.
See, with 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter, he's already been over 300 yards of offense.
Harris Gaines carries the football with a short game. Alvarez, back on February 2nd, made comments that he was here to stay and would finish his career at Wisconsin. Not until he was tempted, though, very tempted, by an offer from Miami.
It was a very appealing job to me for a number of reasons. It's the most serious that I ever really looked into any other job, and most serious I was of leaving here. But I'm loyal to a fault sometimes, and the administration and the university have been very good to me here, and I just feel an obligation to kids that we recruit.
Gaines running through traffic. As we're listening to Barry Alvarez, I was just thinking Gaines so far at 6 carries for 17 yards and yet to break one. That by far his big gain of the day is 16 yards.
Coming back to Barry Alvarez for a minute, I genuinely believe that he wants to be, and justifiably so, in the same kind of milieu as Paterno and Bowden, being at one school for a very long time, establishing credibility. Certainly Miami would have been enticing because of their history. You see right there, only Woody Hayes has won the Rose Bowl 2 times. Very elite company already.
Hand off, Josh Levi on the ball carry. His first carry of the day as we come up on the final 90 seconds of quarter number 1. Alvarez always had a goal of being a collegiate head coach. He said his goal, he wanted to be a head coach by the age of 42. Some things just seem to work out for some people. Sure enough, 3 days after his 42nd birthday, he got the gig.
And I think there's something to be said for the continuity of it. There's a feel good not only in the community, but in the community of college football as well. You can see the only coach with 2 BCS wins.
On the ground, down to the counting it down to the 26-yard line. So the BCS wins. Of course, you got to go back to the mid-40s. The last time a Big Ten team wasn't guaranteed to get champions, guaranteed to go into the Rose Bowl. This year's going to be different.
And let's not forget that Barry Alvarez, prior to his arrival in Wisconsin, not exactly a storied history for that football team. He's the one that really has established the credibility of the program for the Badgers.
Third down and 4. Final 20 seconds to play. Another 5 seconds to snap the football. They do. Here's Carr rolling to his right. Got touched for play. Throws. And incomplete. The wide receiver Berrien had a step, but Carr couldn't connect with him. And that'll bring up a 4th down.
For whatever reason, which I don't understand, Bryant was completely unblocked. He makes his way between the guard and tackle, just is completely untouched, and that makes no sense. That's unconscionable. Watch number 77 take off, just get to the outside completely unblocked. Carr does a great job of getting away from him and just throwing the ball away, keeping his team in field goal range.
Bryant's a defensive tackle who the coach is saying, you can see, moves like a linebacker. Asparuha has already missed from 35. This will be from 42. This one looks like a dandy. He's got it. Asen Asparuha connects. He had never kicked the field goal in his life until the 2000 opener a season ago.
Well, that's well and good, but say his name 5 times real fast, would you please?
I think I've said it 5 times already, and slowly though. And it's a 14-10 game in favor of Wisconsin. You get the sense this is the big test for Fresno State. They're not going away. I almost thought Wisconsin, talked to the people around the Badger program this week, and they felt a little snubbed. Hey, everybody's talking about Fresno State, and we're going to show them Wisconsin Big Ten football. And they did on the opening drive.
Well, it's a backhanded compliment to Barry Alvarez and his team because they've established themselves as a national power. The fact that we just take for granted that they're a good team, and I think that they should look at it that way. Clearly, Fresno State is I keep using that phrase, but a feel-good story. Everybody's excited about seeing a new face on the national horizon. Justifiably so.
Last time Fresno State started 3-0 was back in '95. They wound up losing 7 of their next 9 to finish 5-7. Nick Davis and Michael Broussard are back deep. Brett Visitainer will kick it away. Those first 3 opponents that year, Todd, Northeast Louisiana, Cal, and Pacific. Not exactly the quality of the opponents they'll face in the first 3 games. Colorado, Oregon State, and Wisconsin here. Scheduling has changed under Pat Hill in Fresno State.
And I tell you what, this may sound like a moot point here, not a big deal. This is an excellent job by Vicentino because I've seen it happen before. Just as the ball is slipping off, a young kicker will feel like he has to kick it and not go through. The result is terrible field position. Watch the ball and watch Vicentino. He sees it fade just as he's about to kick it, and then he holds up. Great job. Great job. They'll bring him back and do it all over again. It's not a balk, if you want to make the baseball analogy.
He's a kickoff specialist. He had 5 touchbacks coming into this game in the first 2. That's already one more than had all of last season.
Because of the tee that is not as high as it used to be, you have to get the ball at a certain angle for a kick. Sometimes it makes it delicate, and now they're going to have to hold it.
And a line drive kick. Broussard will field this one. He's out ahead of the 30. And he'll get a couple more yards down to the 33-yard Meza on a special team stop for Fresno State. That'll do it. Barry Alvarez and Pat Hill saw their offenses combine for 328 yards in a dandy of a first quarter. Come on back for the second. With our fine ESPN college football crew coming in from Madison. One of the great atmospheres in all of college football. Great to be here on a college football Saturday. Handoff. Jerome Pettis, the ball carry, his first carry of the day. And what a carry it is. He's out past the 50-yard line before Bryce McGill finally forced him out. ESPN's exclusive game track looking at a wild first quarter.
Well, Anthony Davis, number 28, had a terrific first quarter with 69 yards rushing. And, of course, David Carr puts the ball right on the money, as good as advertised. And, of course, the man who's arguably having the biggest quarter so far is Lee Evans. 53-yard TD reception. Steve, you had 97 yards receiving already. Lee Evans, number 3. I wonder if he can run the 400 meters in 43.86 like his namesake. Back in the 16 Olympics in Mexico State.
Fast, but probably not that fast. Here's Jerome Pettis carrying the football, and he is pounded down, and I mean pounded, at the 46-yard line. Alan Harper.
Harper's the guy, man. 2-time all-WAC guy.
Let's get an update on that Bruin game off their big win a week ago. Here's Brian Kenny.
Yes, Steve, back-to-back road trips for UCLA, and they were down early, but Corey Paul is going to plunge through here, and UCLA taking a 7-3 lead on Kansas. Meantime, Vanderbilt has lost to Alabama 16 straight times, but they do have an early lead at 3-zip, guys.
Okay, Brian, thank you. Loss of 3 on the play on the big hit by Harper.
For the first time in the day, Steve, Wisconsin goes to the spread.
Martinelli, the tight end in motion. Here's Jim Sorgi throwing and dropped by Nick Davis. Davis, of course, had a critical drop 1 week ago for Wisconsin. It was a 4th and 10 play at the Oregon 28-yard line with 1:04 left. Certainly would have kept the drive alive. Probably could have gotten at minimum a key field goal to at least tie the game. And Davis, a troublesome week, but apparently was handling it just fine, as well as you can.
In 4 years at Wisconsin, he's done a lot of good things. He has 5 touchdown returns off of kicks, and he is a very good wide receiver, but it would have done an awful lot for his confidence to catch the first ball thrown his way. Instead, he drops it. Crowd gets on him. Harris is recovering another way.
Again, he did have an 18-yard touchdown catch a week ago. 4th and 10 strike. Could not hang on. He couldn't hang on to that last one. George pulls one across the middle. He's able to complete to Darren Charles. The true freshman, Charles makes the reception. Tyree Sand on the stop after the gain of 17. Here's Dave Ryan.
All right, more shirts on the sideline for Fresno State. We talked about Pat Hill, the bag on shirt. This is a black jersey. Goes out to the top offensive players who really dominate their respective positions in games. So far, in the first 2 games of the year at Colorado, 8 players got to wear the practice black jersey. The following week, Oregon State 6, including Alan Harper. It goes out to the guy who really is excelling on the field defensively. Got to wear it for that following week in practice, guys. Despite the heat in California, more than 100 degrees last week during the workouts.
Yeah, we're talking about Harper and the team in 100-degree heat, but it's still a privilege for that team to wear the black jersey. Anthony Davis is the ball carrier. He was 2 or 3. Again, Harper makes the stop along with Nick Burley.
Take a look at what Anthony Davis can do, and I have this. I want you to take a look at something that's unique to really good running backs. His ability to make people miss in the hole. Watch how quick he is right here. He's going to get tackled from behind. But watch, has him dead to rights. Now watch the movement right here. Boink! Goes right past him. That's going to be frustrating for number 31. That was Mark Daly who comes up to get him. But Davis shows the sweet feet.
2nd down and 8. Here's Sorgi off the play action with plenty of pressure. Is able to complete the pass to the tight end, Mark Anelli, able to hang on. Let's get an update now. Here's Brian Kenny.
Steve, one of the stories we're following on our game day track, Mac Brown versus his old school, North Carolina and Texas, and back come the Tar Heels. Trey Williams goes in for the touchdown. It's all tied up now, 14-14. Right now, Clemson trails Wofford 7-0 there in the first quarter. Steve, Todd?
I figure that score will likely change.
I'm guessing you're right.
That will not be the final score.
Woody Dancer's going to put up some numbers there.
3rd down and 6. Here's Sorgi. Able to connect with Lee Evans. Had some difficulty, looked like off that shotgun snap, but still cool and calm enough to complete the pass.
Something that I don't understand now is Lee Evans goes over 100 yards. When talking with defensive coordinator Dan Brown, I said, you know that this is their stud as you see the first quarter, not exactly a defensive struggle, 14-10 on all the yards that they had put up. I had mentioned, why not double team Evans? I mean, Evans is their guy. Make somebody else beat you. And he said that in theory that makes sense, but unfortunately, he said, that discombobulates the defense in its entirety. Still, in the deep coordinator, I'm just saying, cover that guy, make somebody else do it.
Chad Coons, the fullback, is sent out in motion. They hand it off to Davis. Across the 20. And he'll be slowed down and finally dropped at the 17-yard line. Tyree Sands giving away.
Clearly, I'm impressed with Davis, as you can tell. I keep mentioning all the little subtleties that he has. Take a look here. You see a very serious young man. He wears number 28, and of course, those of you who are a little bit older remember Anthony Davis, an AD for USC, who used to dance on his knees. Take a look at the quickness as he gets in the hole and the power at the end. He gets stopped. Watch, he's going to get tackled. Now watch him push forward. Use that leg strength to get forward for the extra yards. Davis up to this point now 8 carries for 80 yards. Even I can figure out that.
And they'll try Davis again. Taking up pounding now between the tackles. Jason Stewart, the first to put a helmet on him.
One of the things, of course, that they really felt like they lost with Michael Bennett at the position was that speed. But in fact, Davis is a 10-400-meter guy. So even though, of course, Bennett was the Big Ten winner in the 100 meters, they don't lose that much in terms of that. And of course, he's only a redshirt freshman. He's got a lot of time to grow as a runner.
They'll get a breather now. Comes out of the great running back state of New Jersey.
Yeah, they had a fellow here.
3rd down and 3. They got 6 seconds to snap the football. You see it's below the game clock. We've got 10-20 left in the half. Sorgi able to connect with Jerome Pettis, the running back out of the backfield, making the catch.
And of course, the sure tackle is what Fresno State has been famous for in the first 2 games, their ability to drop people in the tracks, and that's what they do. They'll be forced to go with a field goal. True freshman kicker.
Mike Allen will come on to kick it away. The 37-yard field goal attempt, trying to put the Badgers up by 7 again. Snap the play just fine. Hook to is the field goal. Allen connects from 37 yards away. Barry Alvarez and the Badgers once again up by 7. They lead Fresno State 17-10.
ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by Domino's. Get the door. It's Domino's. And by Nivea for Men Aftershave Balm. More evolved skincare.
Welcome back. Beautiful Madison, Wisconsin. Badgers have a 17-10 lead over Fresno State. You see the number 23 next to Wisconsin. Fresno State is not currently ranked in the ESPN USA Today poll. They all rank number 19 in the AP poll. The reason is they had their big victory on Sunday night. The big win over Oregon State on their home field. Maybe the biggest home victory in Fresno State history. But the ESPN USA Today poll came out earlier on Sunday. That was not factored in. Espinosa kicks it away. Bernard Berry They'll take an 8, and they'll start 1st and 10 from their own 20, but not before we check in with Ryan Kenny.
Steve will get you back to Virginia Tech and Western Michigan. Grant Knoll, new quarterback course with Michael Vick, getting ready for the NFL season. Knoll is in for the keeper. 17-0. Virginia Tech now leads Western Michigan. Knoll is 5 for 10 in the air as well, guys.
Ryan, thank you. You know what color that is? You know what color
the official wording? No, I do not recall.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I remember going over the media guy and finding that. I remember. There's a throw by Carr, and he overshot his target, looking for Marquez Davis. And you can see on that throw, wasn't sidearm, wasn't over the top, something in between.
Take a look at the flip. A lot of coaches have said that he reminds them of Jeff George. Take a look at how he throws the ball, and the ball leaves his hands so quickly. Just right there. Flick. This is one of the things that scouts are impressed with because of his quick release, and of course, as we pointed out, at least I pointed out ad nauseum up to this point, his accuracy. Well, right now his numbers are just a little bit above 50%. Give some credit to the secondary that has him.
6 touchdown passes on the season. He has yet to be picked off. Here's Carr again. You got a good look at that 3-quarter delivery there to Bernard Berrien. The completed pass, I think his knee was down when he made the reception.
We have noticed, I'm glad that Dave Ryan pointed that out early on, there have been a number of slips today, Steve, and not just by Fresno State. Wisconsin has been slipping a little bit too. So even though it has been raining today, the deluges of the past 2 days are really becoming a factor here on this field. There's Berrien again. You can see the knee touches down. Good job by the official. And great flexibility by Berrien. I think at the end of the surgeon's knife now. In my opinion.
There's 4th and 4. They're getting loud at Camp Randall. Fresno State 5 and 7 on 3rd down conversion so far. Here's Carr looking for it. Got Berrien. Got it. Wow. 1st down and more. Bernard Berrien on the receiving end of a David Carr touch pass. Mike Eccles was there on the cover.
Steve, what you do is you put all your receivers up top and you isolate on one man, and that's what happened. Eccles is their great cover guy, but here's what you want. You put all this mess, get everybody up to the side of the field, then it becomes pitch and catch. And once again, the accuracy of Carr. The coverage is terrific by Eccles. But Berrien able to make the catch, and another 3rd down conversion for Fresno State. Take a look at the flick again. That's fun to watch.
That's a 30-yard gain. Berrien 6th catch of the afternoon, and that one was fired in there for Rodney Wright. Maybe too much mustard. Wright could not hang on.
Well, up to this point, although some of his throws have been inaccurate, we pointed out that early on, defensive coordinator Kevin Cosgrove of Wisconsin mentioned that Carr does not make mistakes. The one mistake that I can remember is throwing into coverage when he almost got his guy killed in the middle of the field. But up to this point, he's been able to find the man predominantly who is in man-for-man coverage.
Kevin Cosgrove in his 8th year as defensive coordinator is the only remaining member of Barry Alvarez's first staff here. Here's Marquez Davis, the wide receiver, carrying the football, and he's out close to another 1st down. He's brought down by Joey Bozay.
And a great block ahead of him by his tight end. I mentioned at the top of the show that Jeremy Johnson, number 85, is only 6'4", but only 205 pounds. But he's the guy that does a great job leading out front. Watch number 85, the tight end. He's flexed out. There he is right there. Now watch his ability to keep him out of the play, enabling Davis to get the extra yardage.
Johnson had a career game. He was only a sophomore, but had a career game against Oregon State. 7 catches, 73 yards. One score. It's 3rd and short now. And they will put on the ground a Paris game. Most of the game has been for short yardage, and he should have enough for the 1st down there. Herbert and Bryant combining to make the stop for the Badgers. Bulldogs have run 4 reverses already today. We mentioned the start of the NFL season tomorrow afternoon, but we get started on ESPN Sunday Night Football. The Dolphins and Eddie George and the Tennessee Titans. They've got Samari Rolle in the fold after signing his new contract extension. And some of the numbers for Eddie George. He is a load. Maybe the finest running back in the NFL. Here's Carr throwing flags down, and the pass batted down by Jeff Mack. The 2nd time tonight that this afternoon Mack has batted a ball away.
While we wait to see what the flag is, you mentioned Eddie George. He is the lone exception to the rule that I was talking about, at least up to this point. As you see that the Badgers were offside, and that is that I'm a big fan of the runners who are a little bit shorter of the lower center of gravity. Eddie George is 6'3", 235. But he is an absolute Adonis. I'm telling you what, that is one of the most amazing bodies I've ever seen. During his Heisman Trophy year, Steve, I broadcast a game at Ohio State and had a chance to meet him.
Offside by the defense. Repeat first down.
And I got a big kick out of the fact that he came over to me and he says, "Man, you're big." I said, "I'm big? Look at you." Speaking of Heisman Trophy winners, you see Ron Dane over 2,000 yards a couple of years ago. Very deserving. All-time leading rusher in NCAA Division I history.
Dane came in as a freshman here at 270 pounds on that 5'10" frame. 275 pounds.
That's a load.
Yeah. Slim down just a bit, but not too much. Dane trying to turn the corner. Nick Bryson brought him down. Haven't spoken with Dave Ryan in quite some time. Dave?
All right, Steve. Now, even though the sun is peeking out behind the clouds here, the rain was a factor from last night. We had a couple hours of rain, as we mentioned. The turf here is still very, very slick. Officials here at Wisconsin tell me, even though the sun is coming out and we're not getting rain at the moment, although we could throughout the day, the turf will stay wet most of the day unless the wind really kicks up today. We're not having that at all in the field right now. Good call.
7.5 to play in the first half. Second down and 5 from the 27. Carr rolling out to his right. Pump one, chance to low. Intercepted! Picked off by Scott Stark. Hit him right between the numbers. Stark, the true freshman, on the interception.
Well, this is what Kevin Costco talked about, the next star defensively for Wisconsin. And that starts, this is the play that they had run earlier. Remember, this is the play in which Berrien had slipped and he puts the ball on the numbers. Watch right here at the point of attack. When he rushes out here, he throws behind a little bit, and Berrien does not make the adjustment. You're going to see number 2 running, steps in front. That's a great job, great anticipation on the point by Scott Stark. So one of the things we talked about because of the comparison is you see the very first turnover of the season for the Bulldogs, which is pretty amazing. We had talked about the comparisons between him and Jamar Fletcher, and we talked about the instincts of Fletcher. Certainly Starks had good instincts there to step in front.
Here's Broderick Williams, the ball carrier. We were not sure we were going to see Broderick Williams, the last ball carrier. That was his first carry of the afternoon.
That young man, Steve Starks, 155 pounds. So for these those youngsters out there who think they're not big enough, you are.
Here's the reason we didn't think we'd see Broderick Williams. He underwent surgery on April 20th. This is what the media guide said. Should recover fully after a 6 to 8 month rehabilitation. I don't think so.
Wow, that's impressive.
Broderick Williams suffered a torn ACL in April. Tore his other ACL back in high school. So he's been through it before. Obviously, he is. George with all sorts of time throwing, and he was nearly picked off. Nick Davis was the intended target. Anthony Limbrick was back there for Fresno State.
With the play-action fake, Sorgi had plenty of time to look, but then the indecisiveness almost cost him. You can see right at the end he hesitates, double clutches, throws the ball anyway. And as you pointed out, Steve, he's lucky to get this one back. This should have been an interception. Plenty of time. Now watch him step up in the pocket, step up, double cut. Oh, now he just throws it. Now you're not going to be able to get the ball 40 yards downfield when you flick it like that with just the elbow. Fortunate for Sorgi to get that one back.
Third down and 9. Here's Sorgi. Good job by Williams to pick up the blitz and complete. Able to hit Mark Anelli. The tight end for the first down. And I know you love that, Todd.
And he looks over to Brian White and says, nice call. That was a good decision. In the 2 starts for Sorgi, you can see that he matched up against some pretty good quarterbacks. Drew Brees last year, of course, was a Heisman guy. And everybody knows about Joey Harrington at Oregon. Unfortunately for the Badgers, they did lose both those games. But clearly with Sorgi, you've got kind of that Jim Kelly, Frank Reich thing working in terms of a second guy who is certainly a quality guy under center.
He sampled a number of coaches. He actually stated that to compare Sorgi to Harrington. Sheepishly, a lot of them said that had choices. Here's Sorgi now throwing. And incomplete, but there's a flag on the play.
They're going to call Tyree Sams for holding. I don't know if it's going to be holding or interference. If it's interference, obviously it's going to be more yardage. That is going to be 15 yards in.
As you look at the replay, let's check in with Brian Kenny. Brian?
Steve, let's get you up to date just on all the top 25 teams playing right now. Texas with their offense sputtering right now. We'll talk about that at the half. Chris Sims struggling. In the interest of national security, we won't show you what Georgia Tech is doing to Navy at this point. And Clemson trails right now in the first quarter. Send it back to you, Steve. Todd?
Brian, thank you. 6:08 left here in the second. National security aside, I'm curious if that's a good preparation for Florida State to play a team like Navy the week before. It gives you confidence. Maybe that's ball six. Exactly.
First down and 10. Georgie on the ground. Roderick Williams. And he is brought down at the 34-yard line, tackled by Maurice Rodriguez.
Because Wisconsin has established the run early, that's made things that much more effective for Sorgi. That's a given. One of the things it's also done is it's taking time off the clock. This is Wisconsin football. You take time off the clock and throw sporadically. As you see Alvarez coming over to Williams, asking how it feels. Feel good? You all right? That's a tradition there at Wisconsin. That's how they do it. Outrush the opponent, get the TOP, and of course, win the battle of field position because in the past they've had outstanding.
Sorgi will give it to Davis again. Why not? This time, not much of a game as any. Mark Daly brought it down. Good tackle by Daly.
And that's what they've been known for the first two games, their ability to drop people. Fresno State really needs to stop here because if they can get it on an incomplete pass, that would force about a 50-yard field goal.
Alan Harper of Fresno State said he believes their defensive front is the best in the nation.
Well, that's an unbiased opinion.
Harper's a guy who says, if you can dream it, you can make it happen. And he actually got some of the guys in the defense together in the Oregon State game last week and said, hey, dream this, dream making these stops. And sure enough, they did have a dream football game. Third down and 6 now. Sorgi off the low snap out of the shotgun, and the pass was too high. Intended for David Braun, the junior from nearby.
Barry Alvarez is vacillating a little bit. He's thinking to himself, maybe we're just as well to go for it here on the 33-yard line. Sorgi's been hot, been making some throws, and for the youngster, 50 yards might be a little bit out of his range. In high school, Allen did hit a 57-yarder, but don't forget, in high school, you get to do it off the tee.
And he did it more amazing than that, Todd. He did it with a broken kicking ankle. How's that for a story? He's got a 7-point game in that.
What the heck is going on down here? Am I in the right place? I thought it would be harder.
How is this possible?
Wow, Jim Young actually bought a round?
Jim!
Thought you'd never see the day? Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
Ooh.
Nice shot. Buffalo wings, $1 each.
$1 a wing? Woo, how much for the whole buffalo?
You know something better for $1?
How about a 20-minute phone call?
Really?
Sure, dial 10-10-220 and all calls up to 20 minutes, only 99 cents.
Just 7 cents a minute after 20.
10-10-220 is cheap. Hey, the wings are on me.
Hey, man, quit blocking the play.
Sorry, dude, it's my job.
Hey, dial 10-10-220.
You practice
Hey,
all
man, you're big leaguing me now.
Hey, Marilyn Red Riding Hood.
My, what big calories you have. My, what low-calorie taste you have. My, this one's just right.
My, what big eyes you have.
You have no idea.
Great tasting 1-calorie Pepsi 1. This one's just right.
Steve Levy, Todd Christensen, Dave Ryan, back at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, approaching halftime, and the Badgers have a 17-10 lead. And we come back with 4th down and 6, and a field goal attempt for Mike Allen, already good from 37. This will be a 50-yard attempt. Again, as I told you going to break, hit a 57-yarder in high school on a broken ankle. Let's see here, from 50, looks pretty good, and it is! Mike Allen connects from 50 yards. You see the reaction of Pat Hill. And with the field goal, Wisconsin opens up a 10-point lead over Fresno State.
Gibbs International Truck Centers have more transportation solutions than ever before.
More trucks from International, redesigned for comfort, efficiency, and fuel economy.
Gibbs has more parts departments, more emergency road services,
And more service bays and technicians to keep you rolling.
and Gibbs truck rentals have more rentals to fit your needs.
Transportation solutions at Gibbs International Truck Centers.
We call it the brilliance of common sense.
In Fresno at Highway 99 in Jensen, or in Bakersfield at 99 and Buck Owens Boulevard.
Fresno Chrysler Jeep, #1 volume dealer in Northern California, is clearing over 200 cars, vans, and Jeeps at the very best ever savings. Look, new Jeep Wrangler, Chrysler Voyager, Chrysler 300M, new Chrysler Sebring LX, Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, all new 2002 PT Cruiser, plus more and over $1 million in used car inventory at auction prices. Zero down can drive them away from 5-star award-winning Fresno Chrysler Jeep, Blackstone at Shaw in the heart of California.
Football Saturday on ESPN at 7:45. A big game in the SEC East. Derek Watson leads Lou Holtz's Gamecocks between the hedges for a battle with Terrence Edwards and the Dogs from Georgia. At 9 on ESPN2, Casey Clausen and the highly ranked Volunteers look to slow down the Razorbacks. South Carolina, Georgia at 7:45 on ESPN. Tennessee, Arkansas at 9 on ESPN2. College football Saturday tonight.
4:36 left, first half for Madison. Freshman Mike Allen, a 50-yard field goal, gives the Badgers a 10-point lead. And isn't Barry Alvarez glad he's got this youngster? He came to campus July 24th for freshman orientation with his parents. That's when he decided to stop by the football office and see if they had a spot for him on the football team to walk on. Coach Barry Alvarez gave him the chance and took advantage. He's the first-string kicker now. And guys, try to find him anywhere in the preseason football media out here in Wisconsin. You can't. I think he'll be in there next year.
Alvarez was really concerned about the kicking game because he's going with the walk-on Allen. He's replacing Vitaly Pasetsky, who was an outstanding kicker. Kirk Munden, the punter, is replacing Kevin Stempsky, an excellent punter as well. So it was an area of concern. But I think we're both taking the wrong step right now after Allen connects from 50 yards away. Adam Espinosa on the kickoff to Bernard Berrien. Berrien is brought out of the 25-yard line.
There's not a better defensive end tandem in the league. Opposing quarterbacks this season can expect pressure.
Oh, no, Bubba, get him. Should be a great defensive battle there. You had a chance to bump into Kevin Carter.
I did. We were at a function in Los Angeles for Cedars-Sinai Hospital, ran into him, and I said, what are we going to call you guys? Of course, they're both from Florida. He says, they're calling us Gatorade.
Marquez Davis. Far side gets spot in the back, bring up a second down and 5 when we come back. Will this be an upsetting Saturday? Is Brian King.
We've seen some surprises so far here in the first half of football. Central Florida and Syracuse. And you see that as time has expired, Brian Miller airing it out. Doug Gabriel bringing it down for the touchdown. Central Florida has a lead at the half. That's the way to go to the locker room. And Wofford does lead Clemson still 14-7.
I need a slow and change. It was 7-0 before, see? Bernard Berrien on the receiving end. Starts. Brought him down quickly. Under 4 to play here in the first half. Wisconsin out in front, 20-10. David Carr this summer was waiting for a video game to come out. The NCAA Football 2002. He couldn't wait to get it. So he was checking it at the store, and sure enough, he shows up there, and he stands behind a kid who was playing Fresno State on the video game, and he said he had Carr throwing for 400 yards and all his receivers making catches, and Carr said, what a thrill it is to see yourself in a video game.
Yeah, when Tecmo Bowl came out, I'd like to get that.
Look at Carr's numbers so far in the afternoon. Bulldogs trailing by 10. Carr will try to keep that one. Wasn't his first play. Brought down shy of a 40-by-10 Herbert.
That's the 5th sack of the season now that Fresno State has given up. And I dare say this could be a coverage sack. You see McGrew battling. Does a great job of stepping up. Carr, for whatever reason, didn't want to hang in the pocket. Good coverage for the Badgers downfield.
Brings up a second down and 11.
A name we haven't called much, Steve, is Rodney Wright. He was huge on Sunday night, but hasn't made much of a contribution this year.
There he is, right on the receiving end. Joey Jose spun him out of bounds.
Spins him out of bounds and says something in his ear like, don't try that again. Jose's a tough kid. One of the things that Andy Ludwig, the offensive coordinator, mentioned about Rodney Wright is he plays much larger than his 5'9", 175 pounds. He's willing to go in the middle of the field, and he is a good blocker and a tough guy.
Wright had a career high 182 receiving yards on 7 catches a week ago, 2 for a score, including a 70-yard touchdown. Here's 3rd down and 7. It's getting noisy at Camp Randall. Wright made the reception. Bryson Thompson brought him down, well shy of the first down.
We saw Kevin Cosgrove take off his headset. He's got to be very pleased with the way the defense played in that series. Trying to get the blocks downfield. Wright just does not get them. Too many red shirts, and there's Starks once again playing a terrific game. And maybe Cosgrove is right. Maybe this kid is going to be a star.
They had a Jason Simpson. They haven't seen him all afternoon. The Fresno State first punt of the day. And Nick Davis will let it bounce. It takes a Bulldog bounce. And will go out at the 15-yard line.
Simpson, the son of Bill Simpson, former safety for the Rams and for the Bills, and played against his father, a very good player. And Simpson, a very good punter, heading into this game, a terrific average.
50.3-yard average, number 1 in the nation coming in.
Got to do some of those sideburns. You like that look?
These young college kids, the styles go in and out. You and I are much more conservative.
I couldn't throw those anyway.
Georgia handing it off to Anthony Davis. Trying to turn the corner, and he's out across the 23-yard line. Gives us an opportunity to tell you about tonight's college football schedule. South Carolina and Georgia will go at it. Derek Watson coming off a 1,000-yard season for South Carolina. And the nightcap, number 7 Tennessee against Arkansas. These traditional rivals who usually meet in November will do battle here in September. 9 Eastern on ESPN2.
Arkansas's got a pretty good runner in Cedric Cobbs.
Offside against the defense. The penalty is declined. 2nd down.
The other thing, Steve, is in that first game, I mentioned Derek Watson over 1,000 yards. Last week, Georgia had a tailback cat by the name of Yusuf Smith to get over 100. I like his feet. He could be good.
I told you earlier in the broadcast that Wisconsin, NCAA leading streak right now, 8 consecutive seasons with a 1,000-yard back. Anthony Davis might make it 9 straight. He is wrapped in the backfield. Run by Jake Boast. The kind of hitting we expected out of that Fresno State defense, Brian Kenny.
Well, Steve, that hurt back in Bristol. Meantime, coming up at the half, Chris Lee and Kirk will join us from Lincoln talking about Nebraska and Notre Dame. Mac Brown, his offense struggling against his old school, North Carolina and Texas. And Jim Tressel makes his debut for Ohio State. Rod Gilmore will join me to talk about all these games at the half.
All right, Brian, thank you. Speaking of Tressel, evidently he's trying to install something new at Ohio State. He wants the team to sing the alma mater on their way off the field following home games. To sing it to the band, trying to get some more spirit and camaraderie out of the football team. So that's why. 3rd and 3.
Fresno State needs to call timeout. You can see Dan Brown screaming for it. This 3rd down was much bigger for Fresno State than it was for Wisconsin. Now 52 seconds remaining. Depending upon the punt by London, it's going to give Carr and his cohorts the opportunity to get in field goal range.
Fresno State will spend a 2nd timeout. You certainly have to be impressed with the job Pat Hill has done. Everything, attendance, season ticket program, academics are really on the rise at Fresno State. Coming into this game, and I see no reason why we don't continue to talk about the Bulldogs, There's a buzz in the college football world.
Well, they didn't exactly come out of nowhere. Well, they were in the Silicon Valley Bowl last year, and Pat Hill 21-10 as a WAC head coach. That's the best record of any of the current coaches. So it's not as if they materialize. It's just now on the national scene. People are cognizant of it.
And the great call by Hill, and everyone was talking about this.
Yeah.
They had trailed 34-7 at halftime to Air Force in that Silicon Valley Football Classic with 14 seconds left. They had a chance to tie the game on a 33-yard field goal. They fake a 33-yard field goal, and the holder, Jason Simpson, threw an incomplete pass.
Now, I can't say that this was on his mind at the time, but you have to think to yourself, if you're a recruit and you see that that's your head coach, is that somebody you want to go play for?
Absolutely.
Yep.
He's got the good look going,
got
too.
The Goose Gossage mustache working. I haven't seen one of those in quite a while.
It does look like. I think Goose has still got it, by the way. Saw him on up with Gary Miller. Kirk Munden will punt it away. Gets plenty of a rush there. Just got it away under pressure. Bernard Berrier at the 45. Stopped at midfield. 46 seconds left in the half. And Fresno State has one timeout remaining.
That's plenty of time, again, to remind those of you who won't be insulted by this. The clock does stop with a first down. And so 46 seconds, one timeout, plenty of time, certainly to get in the field goal range.
Berrien doing so much for Fresno State. We should remind you that they have terrific senior receiver in Charles Smith. The Bulldogs do sprained his right knee in an August scrimmage. They hope to have him back in a couple of weeks against Tulsa. Here's Carr. Under pressure, steps up and releases to the running back Gaines. Swung around and brought down at the 47. Kareem Timbers brought him down.
That's a good open field tackle because Gaines had his momentum heading in the other direction. But Timbers able to drag him down and short of the first down. Now the clock continues to run.
And one timeout remaining for Fresno State. 2nd and 6 from the 46. Carr a straight drop. Trying to set up the screen and didn't want it, and instead is sacked. Brought down by Erasmus James.
James is an interesting story. He's really only played football with one his senior year. Now he comes back, has 3 sacks in the first 2 games, and has another one today.
That's the 3rd sack of the game by Wisconsin's defense.
How's it going?
Well, the university's helping me launch my new business plan, and my biochem teacher discovered a new pain reliever that may work 10 times better than aspirin. And my animation project, I'm getting calls from the coast.
Wow. What an amazing semester.
Semester? That's Tuesday.
Freshman.
The University of Wisconsin is going to be a great century.
You got me spinning. My bell is ringing. It's making my head cuckoo. You got to believe me. If you ever leave me, I don't know what I'd ever do without you.
Back in Madison, the sun has gone away, the rain's starting to fall. That last pass by Carr fell incomplete, looking to hook up with Marquez Davis. Michael Broussard had the coverage, but batted away.
Carr took a shot on that one. I'm thinking here with 10 seconds remaining, you got to either throw one up and take a shot, or maybe you'd be content to get out of it. For whatever reason, these last 3 plays, the pass rush by Wisconsin has been outstanding.
No timeouts remaining. Jason Simpson will be back in to punt. One of the few junior college transfers on Bulldogs. Simpson punted away. The rain really coming down now. Nick Davis will let that one bounce. And it'll bounce into the end zone. There's 1 second left on the clock. 1 second remains on the clock.
I thought if you're a homer, you're supposed to just let it go out, right?
I think if you're on either team, you don't.
Exactly.
1 second left, but they'll have to have a snap.
Although I can still remember years ago, I think it was during the strike season of '87, when Philadelphia was playing the Cowboys. It was the end of the game. Everybody assumed he was going to kneel down, and Cunningham fakes the kneel down and comes up and throws a long pass. Do you remember that?
Well, let's see. Georgie will take a knee. That'll do it. First half is complete. And what an entertaining first half it was. Wisconsin will go to the locker room with a 20-10 lead over Fresno State. We'll see you for the second half. But first, for the halftime festivities, back to the studio in Bryanton.
Steve, thank you very much. Brian Kenny, Rodney Gilmore here, SportsCenter in-game. Let's get right to it. Some teams with a lot to think about, Alabama included. New team, NCAA investigations, an opening loss to UCLA, Dennis Franchione there, and in the first quarter against Vanderbilt, a team that they've beaten 16 straight times. Vandy with the reverse, lost the football. Dan Stricker has it. Recovering, gets the first down. That's a long drive for Vanderbilt. They got a field goal out of it. Alabama now has the lead, but Vandy is right there at 6-3.
17-play drive. Both teams have struggled in the red zone. Tyler Watts had trouble getting the ball to the end zone for Alabama. No touchdowns yet.
We're going to take a break right now here. SportsCenter in-game. All the highlights are on the way. Texas with Chris Sims. Is Mac Brown making the right call? Virginia Tech without Suggs. Who's carrying the ball? We'll be back right after this.
Everybody's All-American, a real classic, 9 p.m. Sunday, only on ESPN Classic.
This one, Daddy, this one.
I don't know, honey. He's kind of expensive. Hey, what's up with this one? No one seems to want him. Oh, look, sweetie. Oh, he needs a home.
Some people know when to pay a little more. The Discover card for the slightly smarter consumer.
If only all metal were Flex-On. Flex-On eyewear has the ability to bend and spring back to shape. Couldn't everyone use more Flex-On in their lives? Flex-On eyewear. They're just amazing. Durable, comfortable, and lightweight. The best thing is, this is real. Just amazing stuff. Flex-On eyewear by Marshawn.
Everyone loves Domino's delicious cheesy bread. Maybe because it's hot breadsticks covered in a tantalizing combination of cheddar and mozzarella cheeses. Who would come up with such a brilliant idea?
My idea. All mine.
And if you call now, you can get a delicious order of cheesy bread free. That's right, free when you buy a large one-topping pizza for $9.99. Now, where do you suppose that idea came from?
My idea. All mine.
Make it a meal with wings and a 2-liter Coke. Get the door. It's Domino's.
Driving is a big responsibility, one that deserves your full attention. But a distracted driver is a factor in 1 out of every 4 automobile collisions. Don't let food, friends, or a phone call endanger your life. Stay focused and stay alive. Learn to avoid driving's most dangerous distractions from this book. It's free from Shell. Count on Shell.
This is SportsCenter in-game.
Hi, everybody. Brian Kenny here with you. Let's get right to North Carolina and Texas. Mac Brown facing his old school. He spent 10 years at North Carolina, building that team into a top 10 power. Tar Heels under new coach John Bunting. What a rough schedule. Oklahoma, Maryland, Texas, Florida State in 2 weeks. But here, it's rough immediately. Ronald Curry picked off. Corey Redding brings it back in. 7-0 Texas. North Carolina, though, fighting back. Andrew Williams running it around the side. Rodney, they had some long drives for scores in this game.
Well, they've dominated time and possession and the like. Curry with a terrible start, but then seemed to grow in confidence after completing a couple of passes, and he's looked very good since that pick in the first quarter.
So 20-14 at the half. We'll talk about that a little more in just a moment. First, UCLA on the road again. Of course, a win over Alabama. We showed you Alabama highlights already. UCLA at Kansas. Here, UCLA with the blitz. Zach Dyer hit by Robert Thomas. UCLA gets the football. Next series, Corey Poss will put this up to a guy whose name has come up before, Brian Pauly-Dixon, but first catch of the season.
Well, he's dropped a number of balls. He dropped a couple against Alabama last week, dropping a lot in practice, but he gets his first one there.
Next play, Pause to Deshaun Foster. Foster batters his way inside the 5. First and goal. Next play, Pause is in. UCLA takes the lead, and UCLA, after trailing early, that's what we always say, 3-0, but it's early, now lead it 20-3. The second quarter of that ball game right now. Now, of course, if you're watching the game, we're watching Texas and North Carolina, again, you have a long special teams much better for Texas. They're setting them up, putting them in beautiful position, and it goes back to that same thing we were talking about last year. Major Applewhite, all the guy does is one. Chris Sims looks like the NFL prototype. Why is he starting this guy? And at what point does he look over his shoulder again this year?
You want Applewhite in that ball game. I know you want him in
out there. That's what I'm
but
saying.
You know, you're absolutely right. There's been trouble. They've had a lot of trouble moving the ball. There's no question about it. Chris Sims, he's fumbled trying to get a first down. His passes have been a little bit off. They have gotten their yardage because of the special teams. So you wonder if now Mack Brown isn't thinking, I may have to go with Sims, but go with Applewhite. I don't think he'll do it. He doesn't want to hurt his confidence, though.
Yeah, but at what point? It's going to be tough. Right now, they're lucky they're playing teams at North Carolina caliber.
Exactly, but that defense from North Carolina is playing really well.
Some great games coming up later in the day, including, of course, Notre Dame and Nebraska. Rematch of a great game last year. Nebraska edging the Irish 27-24 in South Bend in front of many of the fans who had bought tickets from the Notre Dame less than faithful. Today, though, it'll be a full sea of red. First time Notre Dame will be in Lincoln, Nebraska since 1948. Chris Fowler is there with the game day gang. Guys?
Frank Solich and the Husker players asking the crowd to become more involved tonight against the Irish after a sleepy start to the season. They're a big reason why Nebraska's 83-3 at home games. Guys, for visitors to win here, you either better have a very down Nebraska team, a truly great football team, or both.
Congratulations. That's perfect. Let me tell you what I think. I picked rain, sleet, snow. I don't care. I picked Nebraska to win this game for 3 reasons. It's at home, it's at home, and it's at home. I think the Irish will play a sensational football game with a lot of heart. But I think it's going to be won by Nebraska because it's playing here, and a field goal is going to be the difference.
It's at home, it's at home, it's at home, and it's at night. It's at night, it's at night. This place will be absolutely crazy, and I think that's the big advantage that Nebraska has in this game. Expect their defense to be flying all over the place. The only chance Notre Dame has is to execute a passing game. They couldn't do that last year. Matt LeVecchio needs time to throw. If he gets time, he could throw the ball downfield, but I agree with Coach. Defensive battle, special teams, in this stadium at night, that favors Nebraska. I like Nebraska to win a close game. I think Notre Dame's going to battle. Sunday afternoon, they say the clouds will roll in, a 60% chance of rain, which might add to what we already think is going to be a very defensive battle here with the lights and the Red Sea closing in on the Golden Domers. Should be very, very interesting.
Guys, thank you very much. We're at the half. Wisconsin, Fresno State, 20-10. We're back with more highlights, Virginia Tech included, when we come back.
Wow. I know. She's gorgeous. Oh, dude, her handle went out. Oh, watch this. I saw this in a movie once.
Want to get noticed? Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
That wasn't in the movie, was it? No.
This weekend, Enterprise Rent-A-Car announces special low rates from just $9.99 a day. Friday till Monday from just $9.99 a day. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
1-800-RENT-A-CAR.
Now there's a better way to soothe your skin after shaving. New Nivea for Men Aftershave Balm has advanced moisturizers and vitamins to soothe and improve your skin. Nivea Aftershave Balm. More evolved skincare.
Go. First, make sure your mirrors are right. Okay. Don't forget this one over here. All right. Okay. Okay. Make sure it's in first. All right. Put on the brake. All right. Okay. Okay. Whoa. Just take your break. There you go. Hey, what's going on with the lawn?
Off the Broadway!
Help protect the ones you value most. Call a State Farm agent today.
Brian Kenny, Rodney Gilmore here at SportsCenter in-game. Let's get to Virginia Tech and Western Michigan. Last week it was life without Michael Vick. This time life without Lee Suggs, the All-American candidate. Blew out his knee, the running back, so they go to Keith Burnell. And now it's not his fault here, Rodney, but they couldn't punch it in after a long drive on 4th and goal.
Western Michigan plays a little bit of defense. They've been stuffing them quite a bit, and they give the ball off here. But no, it's the special teams again.
Look out! Coming in, Wayne Ward blocked the punt. 84th punt block under Frank Beamer. That's one about every other game. Then Keith Burnell plunging through. It's going to be Burnell. It's going to be the freshman Kevin Jones. Right now it's 17-0.
Grant Noe came out firing like they were trying to get away from the running game and get him some confidence. It didn't work all that well, and the running game sputtered too early on, as you saw down around the goal line.
Syracuse and Central Florida, and Syracuse offense has really struggled in the early going so far this year. And here, Central Florida, seconds to go. Last play of the half. The long toss, and it's all the way in. And Central Florida scores. Central Florida gets the long touchdown toss. And that's the last play of the half. Right now they're in the third quarter. Central Florida still leads.
Dwight Freeney with no sacks in this ballgame, but the Syracuse defense has been very good. But for that one play, you knock that ball down. You don't try to pick it off.
Pittsburgh meantime, right now trailing South Florida 7-0. Pittsburgh looking for first back-to-back 2-0 season since about 10 years ago in the early 90s. South Florida looking to get its first Division 1A win ever, and they have the lead in the first quarter. West Virginia leads Ohio 3-0 right now. West Virginia has won the last 3 meetings between these two teams. Avon Coburn, at last check, has 48 yards on the ground. Georgia Tech, huge over Navy. Now, when you win this easily, is that getting you ready for Florida State, or no, it's good to have everybody healthy?
I think they can get everybody healthy and take the second half off.
And also, right now, Clemson does have a lead right now on Wofford, so it's 24-14. They trailed most of the way in this game. Clemson has won 35 straight games over Southern Conference opponents, 12 of the last 14 by shutout, but struggling in this one so far. We've seen some teams, teams between number 10 and number 20 struggling here against these smaller clubs. Is this indicative of anything?
Well, I think we see this kind of thing early on in the season because teams are much more evenly matched. It's a little bit of a surprise, though, when you see a 1AA like Wofford take on Clemson and do so well. They usually battle Georgia Southern pretty well. But Clemson struggling early on, not focused on this ball game. They're starting to get it together now, but they could really hurt Woody Dantzler's Heisman hopes if he doesn't show up with a big game. He didn't have a great game last week.
You're wondering, early in the season, meantime, we were wondering, what did you say about Fresno State? Said, I don't know if they're awake yet. We're talking about they're going to wake up. Wisconsin rolled on them early, but Fresno State coming back. We'll take a break right now. It is 20-10, and David Carr, 13 for 22 for the Bulldogs. He's shown a great touch in this game. We'll be back right after this.
Only you know how your feet feel. We only help them feel better. We are the Good Feet Store in Fresno. We carry the famous Barefoot Arch Support, natural shock-absorbent cushions, as well as handmade PW Minor extra-depth shoes. The Good Feet Store has the foot products and the relief for sore and tired feet. We work to give you greater balance, comfort, support, and a good fit. Call 1-866-224-3338 for directions to the Good Feet Store in Fresno.
So, you walk into Gut Shocks and you see all these great brands and all these great prices and you just can't control yourself. This weekend, Gut Shocks is having a sale named Just for Us. It's the shopping spree. Just check your paper for the shopping spree coupons to save an additional 20% on fashion and 10% on things for your home. Usually, you don't save money on a shopping spree. This is Gut Shocks after all. Would you expect anything less? Now that's what I call a sale. The shopping spree at Gut Shocks.
SportsCenter in-game. We're at the half, Fresno State and Wisconsin. Rodney, let's get back to the scores. UCLA, now they're warmed up and putting a beating on Kansas 27-3.
Well, the offense is warmed up. The defense is warmed up from the start, really shutting down the Kansas running game, and now Corey Paz is starting to get it going.
More scores. Once again, let's get you up to date now. Alabama and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt has tied this game up. The players worry when they hear NCAA investigations and all these things. That's slowing down.
It affects you in practice, and that's why you have trouble on Saturday when you lose some practice time during the week because you're talking about this other stuff.
Again, Alabama beating Vanderbilt 16 straight times, but Vandy tied it up at the half. Go to the Horseshoe, Ohio State. Jim Tressel making his coaching debut for Ohio State. Man, 2 decades of experience at Youngstown State. Filling in for John Cooper, got that job. And Jonathan Wells, great block from James Martin. 7-0 Ohio State. 2nd and 9, the Akron 20. Ohio State Steve Belisari. Earl Colbert strips the ball. Ball is loose. Bryce Bishop jumps on it. Ohio State gets it back. And it's first down for Ohio State. 2 plays later, Steve Belisari will play action. Martin, extra point is good. It's 14-0, and Ohio State now leads it 21-7. First meeting between these two teams since 1895, so all the players are gone from that game.
Well, you expect Ohio State to win this one in 1895, yeah. But the thing is, Steve Belisari, the one bad play there was really a problem. That he did that last year. They want to get away from that.
Illinois and Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois head coach Joe Novak looking on. You wonder you can jump up and take a piece out of the bigger guys. Kirk Kittner here drops back and goes to Brandon Lloyd. See, a lot of Brandon Lloyd these first few weeks.
Oh, man, nice catch.
Led to a field goal anyway, so Illinois right now tied up with Northern Illinois. It's 3-3. They're in the third quarter. Michigan State tied up with Central Michigan right now. It's 7-7. They're in the second quarter. Michigan State has won 4 of its last 5 home openers. And Iowa big over Miami, Ohio, 37-0. Again, it is an NFL weekend, and there's your lineup. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, Sterling Sharp, Chris Morton, Stuart Scott, Steve Young. We got a big set. Sunday NFL Countdown, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Get ready for your NFL season tomorrow morning right here on ESPN. Lee Evans putting on a show. The Badgers have a lead. It's 20-10. We're at the half. We're back. We'll wrap things up after this.
Want a job that makes you happy? Post your resume now. Monster.com.
You the monster.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the Chevron. Let's all go to the Chevron. Who's your daddy? Oh, yes!
Want a job that makes you happy? Post your resume now. Monster.com.
You the monster.
Through its youth education through sports clinics, the NCAA fosters the dreams of children in sport and in life. Focusing on the discipline, confidence, and dedication involved in sports, student athletes can apply fundamentals both on and off the field. When it comes to playing with a purpose, just say yes.
SportsCenter in-game. Let's get you up to date on the U.S. Open. This is the biggest blowout in U.S. Open semifinal history. Leighton Hewitt beats Evgeny Kafelnikov in straight sets 1-2 and 1. Hewitt will face the winner of Marat Safin and Pete Sampras, scheduled for later today. In baseball, this rematch of David Cohn versus Mike Messina in that near-perfect game. 2-0 Yankees over the Bo Sox in the top of the second. Dodgers lead the Cardinals. Sean Green, 4 home runs in his last 3 games. He's up to 46 now. He broke the all-time Dodger record over the weekend. And also coming up a little later on today, we'll get some golf, and we'll see and get you up to date right now. This is Dickie Pride up on top going into the third round, 9 under par. We're looking for Tiger Woods, 7 strokes back after a very rough second round. That is coming up right after this ball game, 3:30 Eastern Time, bumped up a half hour again. Tiger Woods, 7 back, Dickie Pride in the lead, Canadian Open. That comes your way, 3:30. You can see it right here on ESPN. 20-10 right now. Wisconsin with the lead on the mighty so far Bulldogs. Steve Levy and Todd Christensen will have the second half when we come back.
When it comes to buying or leasing a new Ford car or truck, ask your neighbor. They'll tell you there's no better place to go than Sanger Ford Mercury. With interest rates as low as 0.9% and rebates up to $4,000, there's no better time to buy. At Sanger Ford Mercury, not only will you get the absolute best deal anywhere, you'll get the best service, too. Remember, you can't save in Sanger if you don't drive to Sanger. Sanger Ford Mercury, on the corner of Kings Canyon and Academy in Sanger. Just 15 money-saving minutes from Fresno. Call us today at 875-7777.
Gibbs International Truck Centers have more transportation solutions than ever before.
More trucks from International, redesigned for comfort, efficiency, and fuel economy.
Shape up your truck at Gibbs with this service special. Get your BIT inspection now, only $49.95 plus tax.
Transportation solutions at Gibbs International Truck Centers.
We call it the brilliance of common sense.
In Fresno at Highway 99 in Jensen, or in Bakersfield at 99 and Buck Owens Boulevard.
Being part of the team makes a big difference for these girls. The thing is, when the going gets tough, the tough go. When I look in their eyes, I can see how much they look up to me. It's a lonely job. Every one of these girls has a dream. It's my job to help them dream big.
Halftime festivities have just concluded on Hall of Fame Day here at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. We look back, courtesy of ESPN's exclusive game track.
Well, a couple of people that maybe you hadn't anticipated doing as well as they have. You see Sorge's combined total yards doing most of that through the air. Of course, Scott Starsby had talked about the young freshman with his second pick of the year, and a big one, too. Would set up this 50-yard field goal by the freshman Allen. He certainly has to have a lot of confidence. Of course, Alvarez now having a lot of confidence in him.
Anthony Davis nearly tore off a 68-yard rushing touchdown. Was called back because of a penalty. Davis has been the early season story for Wisconsin's offense. He came into this game number one in total rushing yards, and he has been at it again all afternoon. You get the sense every time he touches the football, it could be a big gainer.
And truthfully, Steve, I really believe that he has been the difference here in the first half. He's the reason why you see the number. This number is a little bit deceptive because about 50 of those yards came on the reverse. They have not been able to establish the run between the tackles. But Davis, 13 carries for 87 yards. Everything about the offense for Wisconsin has revolved around him and his ability to get up the field, move the sticks.
Fresno State will receive. Bernard Berrien and Bryce McGill are back deep for the Bulldogs. Berrien 2, McGill 5, and Adam Espinoza will kick it away for Wisconsin. The rain that started towards the end of the first half has subsided once again. Second half is underway. Here's Bernard Berrien out to the 25, the 30, the 40. Got one man to beat. He's got to beat his feet. It's down the sideline. Forget it. Wow. Bernard Berrien. Wow. 96-yard kickoff return to start the second half.
So much for the fatigue that he felt with the catches and all the kick returns he had up to that point. Great special teams on the part of Fresno State, just creating a chasm here. Take a look at Berrien and look how things open up in the middle. Right as he's going to veer here, take a look at the blocking. Great job at the point of attack coming across Lyman. Great block there by number 31. That happens to be Jaskaran Baines, a reserve defensive back. And here Berrien gets to the sidelines, and as you pointed out, he shows some speed. 6'2", 190 pounds. Look at the two strides. Beautiful. 5 yards and 2 strides. I love to see that.
I think Starks was the last man that might have had a shot at him, and he is the speedster. Berrien. Now they go for two. I got it. The two-point conversion is successful. Mark Anelli.
Steve, I think it was Alex Rico, their tight end, who was the one that got the snap and punched it in. And, of course, boy, how courageous on the part of Pat Hill to take a shot like that early on. Just rocking the house. 77,000 silently found laryngitis.
Wow. Berrien had an 88-yard punt return for a touchdown last season against Nevada. Here, a 96-yard kick return.
Well, let's give credit where credit is due in the wedge. You see it at full speed. There's Berrien. I mean, he just goes completely untouched, as you pointed out. Here's Starks over here, but he's got no chance. He's just not going to get it. Berrien just does a great job, but again, the blocking is just outstanding there. For whatever reason, Wisconsin caught on their heels, and inevitably what happens, because I did this for a number of years, Steve, you run downfield, you think somebody else is going to make the tackle. Well, 11 guys thought the same thing. The result is a huge first play for the Bulldogs here in the second stanza.
16 seconds in to the second half, and we've got a two-point game. Man, has the complexion of this one changed. And Brian Kenny is now cutting in on every other network we have. People all over the college football world are seeing what you just saw just moments ago. Here's Nick Davis on the kick return. He's out to the 28-yard line. Brian must be done with that cut in because he's got a cut in for us.
See, we do indeed. And of course, Syracuse of a rough week against the Vols. And here, trailing Central Florida. James Mungro will go through, though, 3 yards. So Syracuse does have a lead on Central Florida. It's 14-10 the third.
All right, Brian, thank you. What a start to this second half. And Wisconsin now to try to settle some things down. St. Evans in motion on first down and 10. And hand it off to Jerome Pettis, the ball carrier. And he's out to the 30-yard line.
You know, we were talking about how annoying it is. Come on, what are you guys doing? You're going to kick it. You're just going to kick it. So why are you? What? What are you doing? What are you doing? No, wait. Come to the side. That's unbelievable. Those of you who have not seen this play, that is legal. It is okay. And that the case is Bobby Bynum, who's the one who laterals and gives Grieco the opportunity to get into the end zone as a heads-up play. And let's see later on how big that 1 point could be.
Grieco is Ronnie Lott is his favorite all-time athlete. I'd see Ronnie be proud of Grieco on that play. Here's Sorgi now. Firing, and he's picked off. Intercepted. It's Tyree Sam. And look out, here come the Bulldogs.
This is a great play by Sam because Evans sets down, runs a poor hook route. Sam's able to step right in front of it. Sam's is not in his back pedal. Take at the bottom. Take a look right here. He's supposed to get his hips turned. He never turns his hips. He sits on this route. As well as sitting on the route, he can cut in front of Evans and get the pick. Huge first couple of plays for the Fresno State Bulldogs. And right now, Dan Brown has to be a pretty happy man. That man, Alvarez, very disconcerted at this point.
In 68 seconds of football, Fresno State has a 94-yard kickoff return, a 2-point conversion, an interception, and a Robbie Wright reception. They're down to the 20. I wonder if anything the coaches said at halftime still apply, Dave Ryan.
Well, Steve, no question about it. You know, I talked with Pat Hill before the team hit the field for the second half. And you know from meeting him, guys, he's very blunt. He gets right to the point. He said, his team at halftime, we did not come all the way from Fresno, California, halfway across the country to Madison, Wisconsin, to lose this game. The only victory is a victory. He said his team had to get going defensively, especially. They made a big play here in the interception. And, of course, the touchdown return really got this bench going. Emotions running high, guys.
Now, let me Dave Paris Gaines on the ball carry there.
Let me get ahead just for a second. If for whatever reason Wisconsin stiffens, this is really bizarre, that extra point. And this is what I'm trying to get at. And that is the fact that now that extra point, they kick a field goal. Instead of tying the score now, they go into the lead. Psychologically, that could be a really big deal.
When you get the sense, you know, Fresno State hanging around, and Wisconsin was going to hit them with the knockout punch. But it just hasn't happened at this point. Fresno State is looking to take the lead. Here's Carr in all sorts of traffic and taken down shy of the 15.
Well, once again, it's going to be a crucial third down, and Kevin Cosgrove has been frustrated, I think, by his Wisconsin Chargers and the inability to force people on third down last week and this week. I'm guessing third and 6 here inside the end zone. They're going to come to the 2-2, but try and put some pressure on Carr. Don't give him much time.
Gaines is the single setback. Here's Carr looking left, throwing, and completed. Hitting Rodney Wright. Touchdown! Wow! David Carr to Rodney Wright.
And Steve, that's what we were talking about when we said that he's a little bit, plays bigger than the 5'9", 175. Timbers had the opportunity to drop him about the 6-yard line, but the youngster went right through the tackle. Great call. Here he comes underneath, gets good block. He catches him in a blitz. Right, cuts back, Starks gets blocked. This is what I'm talking about. Timbers has him, right? I guess not. Right in for the score. And the reaction of Coach Hill says it all. Now he's adding it up. We go for 1 or we go for 2 here. And that's why they're calling timeout, to do that very thing, is debate whether or not to go for the 2-point conversion.
2 minutes, 34 seconds into the third quarter. Not only has Fresno State wiped out a 10-point deficit, they've taken the lead.
Ooh.
Nice shot. Buffalo wings, $1 each.
A buck a wing. Ooh, how much for the whole buffalo?
You know something better for $1?
How about a 20-minute phone call?
Really?
Sure, dial 10-10-220 and all calls up to 20 minutes, only 99 cents. Just 7 cents a minute after 20.
10-10-220 is cheap. Hey, the wings are on me.
Hey, man, quit blocking the plate. Sorry, dude. It's my job. Hey.
Dial 10-10-220.
You practice out. Hey, man, you're big leaguing me now.
Driving is a big responsibility, one that deserves your full attention. But a distracted driver is a factor in 1 out of every 4 automobile collisions. Don't let food, friends, or a phone call endanger your life. Stay focused and stay alive. Learn to avoid driving's most dangerous distractions from this book. It's free from Shell. Count on Shell. What the heck is going on down here?
Am I in the right place? I thought it would be hotter.
How is this possible?
Wow. Jim Young actually bought a round?
Jim!
Thought you'd never see the day? Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
I like this one and that one, Daddy.
I have to pay the man for the rabbits now. Can I write a check?
Have to see some ID.
Okay.
Have to call this in.
Okay.
Just a minute.
Daddy.
Have to see a second ID.
Okay.
This doesn't look like you. Date of birth. Have to go on this end.
Next time, use the Visa check card instead of cash or checks. It'll get you in, out, and on with life.
Mother's maiden name.
ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by 10-10-220. Dial it and all calls up to 20 minutes are only 99 cents. And by Shell. Count on Shell to keep you going.
Steve, I don't understand this. After the two-point conversion, I think we'd want to kick and go up by 5 because then that forces Wisconsin, if one of these may score again, to go for 2. Looks like there was some movement on the line. Might have been Bryant. Bryant's got a piece of the quarterback, and Carr overthrew his intended target, Jeremy Johnson. But again, there's a flag, and it looked like it'll go against Wisconsin. Everybody is always discussing this point, and they have their little chart of points. But now by being up by 4 points, if you go up by 5, as we see the offside, I think that's what you want to do. I really do. Because now, when the other team scores, they're an odd number. That puts them at odds offside, touchdown-wise,
on the defense
to go for 2.
Half the distance to the goal. Replay the try.
Now, if for whatever reason they get the two-point conversion, then, of course, it's a great play. But if they don't, now they're in a timeout 2.5 minutes into the third quarter to make sure they make the right decision and then the right call. So they move it closer. This is the two-point conversion. It's Barron in motion. Here's Carr, right side, quickly option, and keeps it. And it's David Carr for the two-point conversion. And as I told you, they needed to go for 2 points here. It was a good decision. You had it all wrong. Remember, the key is to go up by 6 points at this point of the game. Always better than being up by 4. But let me tell you something. Again, giving credit where credit is due. Andy Ludwig, remember on that crucial third down earlier, they went with the option. Why is this guy running the option? Are you kidding me? But he goes in standing up. That's a great, great call going to the weak side. And I tell you what, Coach Hill's pushing all the right buttons here early in the second half. It has been a Bulldog third quarter up to this point, albeit short. We touched on something earlier about David Carr and comparisons to other quarterbacks. You look like some of his favorite targets in Rodney Wright. And, I went up against Joey Harrington last week. Everybody's talking about him for the Heisman. And remember the coaching staff said, hey, we would take Carr at this point. One of the coaches who will remain nameless mentioned the point. I said, can you compare him for him? And he says, now, I don't want to be disparaging to Harrington, but Carr is a good one. And we didn't have to read between the lines to understand what he was talking about. Maybe he has everything Harrington has outside of that $250,000 billboard in Midtown Manhattan, pushing him for the Heisman. He's got a wife and son, too. He's got that going for him as well.
And hopefully we'll get a chance to visit with them later on this afternoon.
What? I'm sorry. Wasn't it 20-10 just a while ago?
Yeah, the other way. Up 20-10. Wow. What a turnaround. We've only played 2:34 in this third quarter. And Wisconsin will get the football back. Nick Davis from the 10. Davis to pick down at the 20-yard line. Let's hook up again with Brian Kenny.
Steve, get back to Virginia Tech and the Hokies against Western Michigan, going to the fullback, Jared Ferguson, former walk-on. Now a big part of this team, rumbling through in for the touchdown, and Virginia Tech now has a 24-0 lead. And just to get you up to date, and I think this is about it for this game, 56-0. Just want to keep you apprised of the latest scoring. Steve, Todd.
Brian, what happened to national security? Forgotten about that for the time being. And here's Woodley out. Going to put it on the ground. And Anthony Davis. That's been the best play this afternoon for the Wisconsin offense. Alan Harper always around the football for Fresno State.
And certainly the body language of Fresno State indicates defensively anyway that, hey, we're back in this thing. We're excited. Great pursuit. I'm really surprised. I mentioned the fact that how key AD has been for Wisconsin. Remember last week, this defense, Fresno State Bulldogs, held Heisman hopeful Ken Simonton to only 42 yards on 15 carries. So frankly, I was surprised that Davis is doing as well as he has been doing.
That was Simonton's worst rushing game in nearly 3 years. Here's Georgia now, the pressure from behind, felt it and throws. Overthrew his intended target, Nick Davis. This has been a tremendous college football game today. We anticipate more of the same for you tonight. Georgia in their outstanding receiver combo with Damian Gary and Terrence Edwards. They'll go at it tonight with South Carolina and then Tennessee and Arkansas. Tennessee quarterback Casey Clausen completed 62% of his passes as a freshman. The number 7 ranked Vols will go at it against the Razorbacks.
Remember, I think it was 3 years ago when Tennessee won the national championship down there. I think it was at Tennessee. Arkansas had them beat. There was a minute 30 left in the game. Clint Sterner fades back and drops the ball. Do you remember that? Yeah, boy, that's going to be a great game.
Here's 3rd and 9. We've had a great game today. Glad you're with us on this college football Saturday from Madison. Here's Georgia, stepping up now. Takes the hit, throws the ball, and what a catch! Lee Evans through heavy traffic. There is a flag on the play. Great concentration out of the wide receiver.
And it's a great job by Sorgi, who's not known as a guy that moves around a lot. The flag was downfield, so I'm anticipating it's defensive, and they'll let it go.
Pass interference against the defense. The penalty is declined. First down.
One of the things that I was concerned about, Steve, for the Wisconsin faithful, take a look. The ball is at the line of scrimmage at the 21. Watch where Sorgi throws this ball from. Is he behind the line of scrimmage? Look at that. He's sideways just a little bit. Take a look. He's able to deliver the ball just in front of the 3. Heads up on the part of Sorgi, and what a great catch by Evans in traffic.
Again, in case you're just joining us, Brooks Bollinger, by the way, has been medically cleared to play. Still got the bruised liver, but medically cleared to play. We were told we'd only see him in an emergency situation. Georgia started. He's gone the distance to this point. Handed to Anthony Davis, reversing his field. And he's knocked out in the 45 after a good run. But the crowd urging for a late hit on the sidelines. But out of the field, Dave Ryan.
Yeah, Steve, you talked about the injury to Brooks Bollinger, the bruised liver. Team trainer Denny Hellwig tells me the injury was discovered with a CT scan after that Virginia game. The diagnosis with several general and trauma surgeons were consulted, about 7 or 8 actually, in addition to NFL team doctors and trainers, about how long Bollinger should be out of the lineup. The consensus is a bruised liver actually heals very quickly, and rarely the player is injured again in the game of football. The CT scan yesterday showed the bruise is completely healed, and he is ready to go if they need him.
All right, Dave, thank you. Presents an interesting problem come next week if Sorgi plays well and Wisconsin wins. Here's Anthony Davis now, the ball carrier. He's banging down inside the 40-yard line. Continues to churn it out. Davis going over the 100-yard mark. 102 yards, 17 carries for the running back.
Well, he's on pace actually to get over his average. Coming into this game, he was averaging right around 139 yards per game in those first 2 contests. And certainly, Fresno State is going to have to strengthen their run defense a little bit.
Davis came in number 11 in the country rushing. That's average, but number 1 in total rushing yards.
Georgia get it to him again. Try the right side, opposite side. Breaks the tackle. Got a couple of good blocks there. 32-yard line. He's knocked down finally by Maurice Rodriguez. We hit Brian Kenny.
Steve, and the little guys are rising up. Northern Illinois going up against Illinois. And look, the big play defensively, Northern Illinois, they stop them there, and Northern Illinois still has a 6-3 lead. And Vanderbilt hanging tough, still tied up with Alabama there in the third quarter. It's 6-6. Steve, Todd?
Lots of single-digit numbers around the nation early on in the third quarter, except, of course, here we got 46 points. Davis 5, 7, and 6 yards rushing on successive plays, and they'll try it again.
One of the things that Davis does, in addition to, we talk about his 100-meter speed, take a look at his feet and how quickly they operate behind the line. This is the play before, cuts back to the outside, right, left, right, left. It reminds me a little bit, although that's far too high a praise. Remember, there's a number 20 for Detroit, and Barry Sanders who used to run like that, and oddly enough, similar dimensions.
I'm not going to see Barry this season again. I thought your old buddy was going to try to get him back in the fold.
I did too. What's up? No, I thought he went to the door and said, come on, come back and play.
Evidently not convincing enough.
If Matt could talk me into play, then maybe Barry would come back to run behind.
We saw Wisconsin 5 of 9 on third down. It's been a real problem. And the ball was snapped as Storchi was turning to the official to signal a timeout. And they catch a break there because the timeout was called.
Now, Barry Alvarez had not shown too much emotion heading into the first half because certainly things are going his way. You saw that placid interview he had with Dave Ryan. Now, all of a sudden, he's very excited, very animated.
Delay a game against the offense. Till third down.
Today on